Three, two, one, and we're live. Welcome once again to HeroQuest fans. It is Friday, August 5th, and Gen Con is in full swing, and we've had just a flurry of updates. Chris Nadieu is over there with a bunch of the Avalon Hill people, Hasbro, and they are just spoiling the heck out of the HeroQuest stuff there. They've revealed HeroScape, which is a game I never played, but actually is more popular, more famous than HeroQuest, and it's coming back too. Let me just, I got a bunch of people to thank, and a lot of, oh, we are not questing live. That's tomorrow. Sorry about that. Let me just remove that. Little thing there. We're talking today. This is HeroQuest Talk. So, ElfQuest Pack spoilers. So this is going to be a heavily spoilerific stream, okay? So, let me just check a couple of things here. Welcome Count Cogpox and Elverg. I've got a bunch of fans going because it is hot today in my part of the world. So just give me 1 second here. We got to get some music going. I got a lot to talk about. So let's make sure we've got sound correctly. Yep, we sure do. Why am I not hearing music? There it is. I hear it. That familiar royalty-free music. Okay. HeroQuest discussion time. This is going to be great. Yeah. All right, welcome to HeroQuest fans. So I couldn't be at Gen Con. I'm relying on the goodness of all your reporting. So Encarming has been just flooding us with teasers and so many cool people in the HeroQuest fans Discord. Shout out to all of you, and the people on Facebook, and the people on other social media, people on Ye Olde Inn, have been like taking photos and videos, and then people have taken those photos and videos and they've been like catching little glimpses of things and like zooming in on stuff and like, you know, sharpening it in Photoshop to try to see every corner of everything, because, you know, those guys are busy running the display booths and everything, and they're not necessarily giving us every detail. So obviously Frozen Horror is out, and I'm not sure if they're demoing that, but they're demoing the game system. Hey, yeah. But the Rogue Heir of Elathorn is on full display. People are figuring that out. I do want to talk about that new character. I also want to talk about heavily the ElfQuest pack and all the spoilers that we've learned in the last 24 hours, which a lot of people have talked about ahead of me, and that's okay. That's cool. This is just me reacting to it and providing more info. But I do want to say some other things, some spoilerific stuff having to do with the ElfQuest pack, because we haven't seen the inside of that quest book yet, and I think this is going to be of interest to a lot of people. I do want to acknowledge just how much fun I had at last night's Rantcast. So shout out to Strange Bus, the Strange Bus. And it was like we knew Amalgamash couldn't be on the show, but he was still going to show up in the chat. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go because he had a lot of things to say, and it sounded like he was a little disappointed, maybe a little upset about some of the one change that we heard about for the ElfQuest pack. I don't do that on these. Sorry, Elver. Yeah, he was disappointed that they had lowered the body points of the ogre, and I was wondering, like, is that just the tip of the iceberg? Are there other changes? Like, I don't have a problem with there being changes, because to me, the Barbarian Quest pack and the Elf Quest pack back in '92 were broken. Okay, and they have the right, because they own it, to modify it. Now, Amalgamash made a lot of good points, and normally I'm like kind of on his side as far as like I'm not using this in a pejorative way, a purist, saying like no, I just want you to reprint the game, as few changes as possible, just update the build quality on the materials, and then save the changes for extra quests and whatever. So I want to give him a fair hearing. I'm just going to go back over with a fine-tooth comb the things he said. And the thing is, like, I'm not doing this to like trap him or anything. The point is, like, everybody has a right to do their own research, change their mind, have their own opinion, even if nobody agrees with it. Like, that's all right, man. That's fine. And when you're a GM, you have a lot of freedom to do what you want. You can like enforce your will on the game world. It's totally that simple. And the argument doesn't happen at the table. That arguments happen in between. Like, we're all looking for ways that we can be more effective GMs, that we can facilitate even more fun games. And you're going to get people that are just like, no, you're doing it wrong. Why are you doing it that way? And when it's their turn, they do what they want. So let me just talk about some of the stuff that was covered. Just to be fair to him, because I don't want anybody to think that we like ganged up on him or ignored what he had to say. But so I'm just going to go back over this a little more carefully just to make sure it's cool, because I know he's going to do a video about this, and I just want to make sure for our part that we're just giving him his credit where credit is due. So the first part I think was pretty clear. It's like, don't fix it for me, I can do that, is what he's saying. And I guess since we are dealing with legacy Hero Quest stuff, even though you can say the Barbarian Quest Pack and the Elf Quest Pack were very rare, like back in the day, like only a small percentage of Hero Quest fans back in the 90s actually owned them. And now today, if you want to get them, like, good luck. They're super expensive. So your best bet is just to download them. And yes, they've been available on Hasbro customer care for 20 years. So a person could download those legally from Hasbro.com, and they could proxy the stuff, and they could recreate it using their own materials. So how cool that they re-release these now. Frozen Horror is already out. Hey! ElfQuest Pack is coming out spring of 2023. But it's like that idea that, oh man, I always wanted to own it in 92, but I couldn't. So I want it as pristine and pure and close to the original as possible. So even though I think Amalgamash, he's bought these now, so he owns the classic ones. So he's ahead of us there, because I mean, I can't afford that. Like, I don't even want to spend that kind of money on a HeroQuest product, even if I really would love to have it. Okay, so he's saying, don't fix it for me, I can do that. Yeah. That's an unpopular opinion, because when I say that, like, people come at me and go, no. You fix it for the masses, and then the hardcore people can like change it. Because you and I are both going to do it, the changes. Like, either Avalon Hill fixes it, or you, the GM, fix it. I mean, people are going to play it for the first time, just get destroyed and go, wait, what's wrong with these quests? I guess we have to use our imagination to like make it better. And so then you do it. And you're like, well, that's free to do, because a computer game, you got to code it, you got to edit it. A board game, you just get out a pencil and paper and you fix it. So then there's the question of, that was part one. So part two, Amalgamash says, what did the author say? What did the author want? I'm really a strong believer in that. And we've been looking at the draft notes, talking about how, oh, hey, Zucco La Ninja, bonjour de la France, welcome. Yeah, let me address these comments here, sorry. Count Cogpox says, I feel like the adjustment to the Ogre body point helps rebalance the progression through the expansions chronologically. I assume we will be getting hard mobs as the packs progress. May see stronger ogres against the Ogre Horde re-release, fingers crossed. Well, see, that's the thing. We don't know what changes, if any, are in the quest book. I mean, unless it just happened at Gen Con, like somebody just opened the book and told us. So I'm wondering if this is just the tip of the iceberg and there's more changes. So, I mean, it's like, oh man, Amalgamash, steel yourself, man. You might not be happy about that. On the other hand, maybe the card changing is all that changed. Maybe they're going to release, just like with the Frozen Horror, a digital version that has the errata and the playtest suggestions, so that if you want to just play it as written, you can just ignore that. Or if you want to make your own homebrew fixes, you don't like the suggestions they made, you just do that yourself. But yeah, he has a valid point. And I think it's a valid point on the other side too, which is most people never played this. They don't have nostalgia for the original 92 one. I mean, they have nostalgia for the main Hero Quest one. But it's kind of like, I don't know, just like the Star Wars Holiday Special. Like, if the Star Wars Holiday Special was re-released and it was completely remastered and they like digitally like replaced certain characters and changed the music, like, you'd say, well, why does it matter? Like, nobody cares, you know? But you might have people that do care, and it's just like, listen, I want to see it, warts and all, the original, what it was like. Fair enough. And I'm not saying these were as bad as the Star Wars Holiday Special, but like, to use another example from something else, it's not like, oh, I changed Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I mean, that was a popular movie. Like it or not, it was a very popular movie when it came out. Okay, so Elverg says, he's got a valid point. I think I agree in many ways. I was on top of the hill of no changes on your YouTube for Frozen Horror. I disagree with this change specifically. Yeah, and I mean, I guess in a way, it's kind of like it shocked me a little bit too, because I thought they're on this trajectory where they're just going to keep it 100% the same, except what they have to change for legal reasons. And then all the errata is going to be in digital format. But I wonder, I mean, and Carmine hasn't said this, and maybe he won't say it or can't say it. Is the reason they did the digital fix for the Frozen Horror because it was already done? It was too late to change anything, but they had time to change the Mage of the Mirror, the ElfQuest pack? Or is it because they thought, oh man, this is going to be bad, like we got to be proactive? Or did they think it was more broken? Because I kind of thought the opposite. I thought, well, the Yeti, I mean, you set the Yeti thing problem aside, and the Frozen Horror is like way harder. Because, I mean, you've got the double attacks from the Polar Warbears, you've got tons of traps, tons of monsters. But, I mean, the ElfQuest pack is super hard too, even for experienced HeroQuest players. But it doesn't have anything quite that broken. It just has a lot of places where it's like, there's all these treasure chests that have no notes. So are they empty? Or you draw a card? I mean, it's kind of boring. Now, Amalgamash and several other people, including myself, look at that and go, oh, this is a golden opportunity. You see an unmarked chest? You can put whatever you want in that. It's a perfect opportunity for you to go, you know what? They're getting killed left and right. Let's put an elixir of life in there. Boom, done, fixed. You know? Because I guess my tendency is when I see a hard quest that I think is just going to destroy everybody and make everybody not want to play again, I'm going to make the heroes stronger so that they can meet the challenge. I'm going to give them more opportunities to get gear. I'm going to give them stronger potions. I'm going to give them upgrades in their magic. You know, I'm going to give them stuff like that so that when they can fight the boss as intended and win, have a chance, a fighting chance. Whereas you could go the other way. You could be like, listen, this room has like 4 ogres in it. Let's just make it 1 ogre. Or, you know, let's replace that with a Chaos Warrior. Or let's, it says 1 healing potion is in the room. Let's put 2. I mean, or there's a trap there. Let's just erase the trap. I mean, there's so many ways you can modify it. Because really what Zargon is supposed to do is when the heroes fail a quest, you don't just replay it again until you've memorized it. You're supposed to remix the quest. I mean, how much you change things around is up to you. But you could change the whole thing completely. And so there's no way they can like memorize it and just keep playing until they, okay, avoid that room, search right here, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, but his points are valid. I'm just saying, like, I can see the other side of it. A person can disagree. And again, I don't want to come across as saying, like, I'm getting my way. I wanted changes, so I'm getting my way, so I'm just going to, like, be happy and ignore the fact that he's a little miffed that, you know, they didn't maintain the purity of it. But how pure it is remains to be seen. And I could see them doing the opposite with a digital release. They could just release a digital thing and say, hey, guess what? Maybe some of your ogres do have 10 body points. Maybe they're stronger, you know? And that's giving you permission. Now, I understand what he's saying when he's saying, like, don't fix it for me. Like, he wants it on the page to be the original. And then the changes are just in your mind. Or in a separate product. Alright, let's read some more. So, Count Cogpox says, I do wish the quest book would say what the intention for the empty chests are. Yeah, so the default rule is, I mean, furniture just takes up space, and it impedes your movement. It's just decoration. So if there's no note, you draw a card when someone searches for treasure. That's always how it's been. But the treasure chest to most players, because of all these early quests where they give you a note every single time, means that either the chest has treasure in it, or it has a trap, or it has a trap and treasure. Because there's some where it's just a trap and then there's nothing else. Occasionally it'll say the chest is empty, but if there's no note, that means there's a card. Think about it this way. Every room can be searched by every hero once. So if you've got 4 heroes and there's a room with a treasure chest in it and a note that says there's 100 gold coins, that means the first hero that searches gets the 100 gold coins. The other 3 get cards. So it could be a hazard, a wandering monster, a potion, or gold, or jewels, you know. Which is funny because it's like, you know, it could be just something good, something bad. There's no way to know. Okay, so Elverg says the last 2 expansions have been claimed to be rushed out. Yeah, I agree with it. And actually looking at the draft notes, I think that's proven. I know not everybody can see them. Luca Paci hasn't released everything. Listen, I'm going to be going over those notes on this stream, so there's going to be heavy spoilers. But I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to steal any thunder. It's just, think of it as a preview. Like, other people are going to get to see these, like, very soon. Like, he's going to release these. So I'm not, like, hoarding these. I mean, this is just info. I want to talk about it because it's relevant to Amalgamash's comments. It's relevant to the remake that's coming out. Sorry, let's give you a little more variety to look up. So we got these upcoming releases. There's the graphic for the Mage of the Mirror. Once again, they took away ElfQuest pack. That's a pretty good picture of it, actually. Let me just save that. And then there's the Rogue Heir of Elathorn. Got some good pictures there. They've, of course, got lots of other games, but what else? HeroScape. And we've seen more of HeroScape now. So some of this information is just, it's like slowly trickling out. Pre-orders, not yet for the ElfQuest pack, but pre-orders for the Rogue Heir. Okay, yeah, back to the chat. Okay. Let's see. I want to acknowledge the people saying, and I'm not trying to retread the entire Rantcast. I just want to make sure we cover everything. But yeah, mad respect to Amalgamash. He's a good guy. I don't agree with him on everything, but I agree with him on a lot. And really, it doesn't matter. Like, I would love to just like hang out with my friends and like debate about something that we all love, you know, that we're passionate about. And sometimes those ideas rub off. It's like, okay, listen, I'm not willing to go all the way with you, but I'll go halfway, you know, towards what you're saying. Like, some of the things that you're saying actually are something that I want to do, you know, a change that I would make. Okay, so empty chest. Count Cogpox says, what did the creator intend? Yeah, they intended that if there's no note, you draw a card. It says, I just assume they want to disappoint the players. It would be nice to have a line in the quest info that says it can be used as a random picked item from the GM. The other thing is you can rewrite the quest. So if you don't like something, you just put the note. I mean, yeah, you probably want to do that ahead of time rather than just look like you're being arbitrary. But I mean, I've had quests where it's just unmarked or it's empty, and I go, nah, I'll put something that they need in there. The last 2 expansions, so Elverg, last 2 expansions have been claimed to be rushed out. Yeah, I covered that. No way to change the past as the game support ended. We're now nearing the same release point we had in the US as it was back then. The game is moving forward, new stories and things to come. Yeah, if you just look at the North American releases, we actually have more quest content now than they ever had back in the 90s, because all those free quests have come out. Now, if you take the European quests, yeah, some of those have not been recreated yet in remake form. They haven't been released yet. The European players actually got more quests because they got those White Dwarf magazine quests, they got the Dave Morris quests, they got the Marvel Winter Special. You could say Adventure Design Kit had almost a complete quest in the back of the box that people recreated. And yeah, there was fan magazines. I don't count those. But yeah, if you take all those together, they were kind of like the free quests of the day. Of course, you'd still be buying a magazine or a novel to get the quest. So it was like they're selling, but I mean, it was created by someone licensed. It wasn't just a fan recreation. Elverg says, Into the Northlands has given me a challenge to determine where or if I'll put those artifacts in Frozen Horror. I'm curious if we see a quest 0 for Mage of the Mirror. I'm 100% positive that there will be, because they're doing it every time. Every time they release a new product, I guess except for the hero collections, they always release a free quest to kind of like promote it. So you had Rogar's Hall for the pledge drive. You had New Beginnings for the game system. You had Forsaken Tunnels of Zorzel for Keller's Keep. I guess they didn't have one specifically for Return of the Witch Lord. Although, well, no, I guess not. And yeah, Into the Northlands for the Frozen Horror. So yeah, I would not be surprised at all if there was another one. I would expect it, in fact. And plus, that's their perfect opportunity to put the errata in there. Whether it's in the book or not, like whether it's in the box or not, they could always just attach it. Okay. Unless they've already written it into the quest, like into the fabric of the quest book itself. Drop those items. See, the thing is, if you're at Gen Con, they actually print it out Into the Northlands. It's actually on a sheet that they're giving out to people. And so you could buy the Frozen Horror in theory, open up the box, and toss that sheet in there. Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted them to include it in the box. Even if it's like the quest book is over here, the errata sheet is over here, but it's right there. So that way people don't have to like scour the internet for this stuff after they buy it. It's just like, it's right there. It's like, hey, here's the quests, but guess what? There's some problems. So here's some suggestions from the developers on how to fix it. But just keep in mind, the people that are making this now are not the original authors. So back to Amalgamash's point, is it respecting the original designers? I'm not going to name all their names, but we know some of their names from back in the day. There's also no lore video for Return of the Witch Lord. There is one for Keller's Keep. Good point. I wonder what that's about. I wouldn't mind hearing Stephen Baker talking about the Witch Lord. That'd be pretty sweet, actually. Okay. It's a little dry, a little hot here. Okay, so back to last night's Rantcast, which was awesome. I loved it. I was so invigorated by that conversation. But maybe I got too carried away and maybe I missed some of his comments. So if so, I'm sorry. Okay. So let's see. Elviler had pointed out, it is broken though. Someone who's never played it before won't know what they need to fix. And that's the thing, you're making extra work for the GM. It's one thing to say, here's some suggestions so you can work on it, make your own version of the quest. It's another for them to just be playing and going like, why is it so impossible? Like, you know, because yeah, as an 8-year-old, we were able to make up our own. A 12-year-old, we were able to make up our own rules and make the quest more fun. But I remember getting mad, like when my party got absolutely creamed in one quest. I was a sore loser about it. It's like, yeah, it's a lesson you have to learn as a kid, but at the same time, you're like trying to have a game, so you're trying to make it a little bit feel like they had a fighting chance. Amalgamash says, I don't know that myself, and I don't know that 5 body points fixes it. I just know it's a break in precedent. Well, see, and that's the point that I would like to see the rest of the quest book before I say the 5 body point is necessarily an improvement or not. Like, I tend to think it is because I have looked at some of the classic, because I've only played like the first 3 quests of the Elf Quest pack in my life. I haven't played through the group quests, but looking at some of the quest books, they're really tough. I mean, 10 body points is like a whole room full of monsters normally. And imagine that's not the only one you're fighting. Imagine you're fighting a couple of ogres and some other monsters. It's like, that's a boss fight. That's like an entire quest room of monsters sometimes. We won't know until we play it. Well, I think when we read it. Jacer J says, the author had no final say in the finished stats according to the letters. Yeah, true. Yeah, they had an editor. So you had at least one person working on each of the hero packs, the wizard, dwarf, barbarian, and elf. Only 2 of those actually were completed. But you had at least one person working on each one. You had people that did the artwork, and then you had an editor who made suggestions, changes, and approved final stuff. And I think he goofed up on some of the stuff because, like the Yeti hug thing, like originally there was a way to escape it. So actually, in that sense, Avalon Hill is going back closer to the original intentions with that. Because the final version, you can't get out of it. You just get caught in the hold and you die. Unless somebody kills the Yeti before you get drained of all your body points. All right, more comments. Lotion Master, hey, welcome. Welcome, everybody, to HeroQuest fans. Elvyler says, I think the only difference between an ogre fight and a boss fight is the ogre can't cast spells. Well, the thing about the ogres is they have really low mind points, so they're easily susceptible to spells. I was actually doing, I was testing that out. I was trying to, like, just simulate one of the battles from the original 92 version, like if it was winnable, and it is winnable. But basically, the wizard gets killed, and he has to use up like 3 or 4 spells in that one fight alone. That's against 2 ogres. Because think about it, you can put one of them to sleep. If the elf happens to have the elf spells, he's got to sleep as well. Or if you've got the bard, pirate, he's got a sleep spell. So, like, you could just, boom, sleep, and then just kill him. But what if they get out of it? If they get a lucky roll, they break out of it. And then it's like, oh man, this is a slog. We're just fighting. Because they've got really strong attacks, too. But yeah, like, that's going to take up a huge portion of the quest. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having there's nothing that says a quest has to be structured where there's one boss fight at the end and it's in the center room. I mean, that's how the trial was. Spoilers. But yeah, you could have it just, you cross a random, corridor, and all of a sudden there's just a huge fight and everybody dies or almost dies, and then you make it through the rest of the quest. Like, man, we need to regroup here. Okay, so back to the Rantcast kind of recap thing. Let's see. Amalgamash says, but again, even if it's the best explanation yet, it isn't an official re-release as much as it then becomes an interpretation. Well, true. That's the case anytime a work changes hands. You just can't help it. I mean, if they brought back the original design team and they all just said, yep, we're on board with this, we love these changes, great, go for it. But there's a wrinkle to this, and I'm going to get to that. Viola says, I don't think Elf Quest Pack was supposed to be as difficult as Barbarian Quest Pack. I agree with that. Don't have any first-hand experience. Elberg says, I think from a community standpoint, there's a heavy need for scalability rules to be available for the game. I agree with that. Not just in the companion app, but because the Barbarian and Elf Quest Pack, and actually the 2 unreleased packs, they were intended to serve 2 purposes. One is you've got those solo quests, which it was supposed to be a new experience. But it was built for either an experienced hero who just wanted to control one hero, or a brand new HeroQuest player. So like you bring someone to your table who's not played the 14 original quests. They're just learning the game for the first time. And you're going to give them these 3 solo quests to give them a bunch of gear so that in the 4th group quest, they all come together and you're up to speed. You've got your armor, your weapons, your magic, whatever you need, your potions. The problem is they made it difficult even for an experienced hero. Like, I've seen experienced heroes just get killed in this quest. And I'm not saying like it's the end of the world, like, oh my gosh, you lost the game, we'll just get good, right? But no, they just made it really crushingly difficult. So guiding the GM to say, like, okay, if you're a beginner player, here are the changes. Scalable difficulty. So fans have done this. They go through the quest back, and it's probably, again, it's too late for Avalon Hill to do this right now, but like, here's room A, and you've got green monsters are like the first level. So that's like a entry-level hero. And then you've got, like, how did they do it? Red? Or is yellow? Yellow is like, okay, the heroes have like 3, or they got 4 dice. Yeah, 4 dice is the first level. Second level is like 5 dice. Third level is 6 dice, or 7 or more dice. So you've got like green, yellow, red, and purple. So purple would be like, superhero level heroes. So that way it's not boring for those super tricked out heroes, but it's not like crushingly difficult for beginners or people who like have no previous quests and no saved gear. So that's a way you can do it. Otherwise, you're just saying, hey, Zargon, like, here's a hint. This quest is like super hard, and the heroes are all like 8 years old. So here's how you make it like more fun for them. Okay, let's see. Oh, nice. Thanks, Elvyler. So he just linked to elvyler.com/batsim, BATTSIM. Only straight combat, no magic yet. That's perfect. There was another website that did something similar to that, but the fact that you've got it on yours is really cool. I've got a couple dice simulators, but each of them kind of has different pros and cons. Let's take a quick look at that, what he just linked. So it's pretty basic, but yeah, you can do playtesting with this. Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing. 2 attack 3. Very interesting. Okay, so the ogre has all that. Let's just test. Result: 2 turns. Elf lost 6 body points. Ogre lost 2. Elf defeated. Interesting. Alright, welcome once again to HeroQuest fans. This is our Friday discussion. I'm so sorry. So, a couple of problems there. I realized I actually had the wrong text and everything. We are not doing a live game right now. Sorry about that. Sir Death is not here. Although we had a great game with him. And he just released... So, Sir Death Vids, great YouTuber. Check him out. He had a great video talking about the Rogue Heir of Elethorn, and we had a great game with him on YouTube. Oh, well, it was originally on Twitch. So he was playing Jacer, Elviler, Strange Bus, and myself. So we had a lot of fun. And we actually used the companion app. It was weird. I mean, there were some problems with the companion app, but hey, PSK, like, shout out to him because he's always been telling us to go digital and try it out. And now I still had to control everything. So I guess, I don't know. It's just, but it was a different way of playing HeroQuest. Is what we did. So yeah, we're talking about Gen Con. We're talking about spoilers. We're talking about the rant cast. We had an awesome rant cast with the Strange Bus last night. Amalgamash was making comments, and I really appreciated the back and forth, but I want to be fair to him and make sure that we weren't leaving out any important things that he did say. He made some made some remarks about the changes to the ElfQuest pack, because Gen Con has revealed lots and lots of information that the ElfQuest pack is coming out spring 2023, and they revealed that the Ogre body points have gone down from 10 to 5, and so we're wondering, is that just the tip of the iceberg? Are they going to change other things? Like, I've been saying this whole time, like, they need to bug fix and, like, playtest not just the Frozen Horror, but also the ElfQuest pack, the Mage of the Mirror. And he's more like, no, just give me the original, closest to the original as possible, and let me fix it myself if I want to. Or do like you did with the Frozen Horror and release the errata, the play test suggestions, in the form of a digital release or a separate, sheet or something. Don't just change it. Don't dumb it down. I mean, he also said, though, that if the original authors approved it, he'd be okay with it. So it's like, all right. So yeah, the elf was defeated again. I used the 5 body points. He still got destroyed. Now I wonder, what about... This is 1v1. What about having multiple heroes? Because it's in a group quest. Because I'm trying to think. Okay, so spoilerific spoilers. This is HeroQuest by Phoenix. So this is a remake. This is not the original. Okay, this is a fan recreation. But there are no ogres in the solo quests. I don't think. Nope. So, all right, let's take a look at some other things here. Okay, so this was a picture that they showed a lot for Gen Con. So the Rogue Heir of Elethorn, and I'm going to get back to the Amalgamash thing in a second here. So the Rogue Heir of Elethorn is the next hero collection. They've shown us all these pictures. So it's a male and female elf. They're knife throwers. You've got a piece of equipment called a bandolier, And basically, it's a bottomless bucket of throwing knives. So as long as you've got one dagger and you wear the bandolier, you can keep throwing your knives all day long and you never run out. So daggers are cheap. They're 25 gold coins, and they only do one body point of damage, but you can throw them. So he makes the dagger like useful again. He's got these 3 skills: opportunistic striker, ambidextrous, and what was the other one called? Okay, Elvyler has covered this. So let's go to his page real quick. Elvyler.com. Okay. Awesome article, by the way. So yeah, you get the official communique. So there's lore here. Your Royal Highness, as the bravest of warriors and the heir to the kingdom of Elathorn. So Elathorn is the Warhammer Fantasy-ized version of Athelorn, which was the forest that the Wood Elves lived in between Britannia and the Empire. Of course, in this new version, they've had to remove all the Games Workshop properties, so it's Elathorn. It's the realm. It's the king. I'm not sure what Britannia, like what that's called now, but it's called something else, or if they mention it at all. And there's more lore coming, apparently. Okay. It is critical that you are made aware of a serious threat to the realm and to your family. We know that you have sought independence from your mother, Queen Terelia. Okay, so boom. It's related. This is from the ElfQuest pack, is Queen Terelia. As you travel the world this past 12 months, far from your life of wealth and privilege, now the Queen, our beloved monarch, has requested that you return from your journey forthwith. The Seer of the Court, Seers, those were mentioned in the Mythic tier, has used psychic powers, oh man, and celestial reckoning to locate you. Our fleetest windcutter is standing by to transport you to the palace without delay. What's a windcutter? Both our kingdom and your family are in grave peril. The Queen's decision to honor our defense treaty with the King of the Realm by sending our most courageous heroes to his aid has riven a deep chasm in our populace. The council has broken down into opposing factions, and there are reports of deadly skirmishes breaking out in the capital streets. So this is lore. New lore. This is a new hero character. Furthermore, it is with great sadness that we inform you that your aunt, the Archmage Sinestra, of course that's the bad guy from ElfQuest pack, Mage of the Mirror, has taken your young sister, Milandriel, hostage in her stronghold in the marshes of Glennis Finn. While her motive is unknown at this time, we suspect that she will demand the Queen's abdication. Sinestra is likely influenced by powerful but still unidentified evil forces that must be crushed before their poisonous tentacles take hold. You may be of assistance to those heroes who step forward to lead a counterattack. Getting all excited. Your kind regard in treating this matter with the extreme secrecy and discretion is appreciated. May the strength and long life of the mighty oak be bestowed upon you. Cadre of the Raven's Veil. And so now you know why they have that symbol on their business card. Okay. So as Elvyler expertly covers, okay. Once per turn, when you attack with a short sword or dagger, you may make one additional attack with a dagger. Do not discard after use. So that's one of the abilities. And is that the opportunistic or ambidextrous? Hold on. Let me get back to the chat here. Just pick for the ogre from the list. Yeah, okay, you guys are trying to help me. Thank you. Manually. I'm seeing the light that for the betterment of the community and longevity of new users not becoming frustrated with this new content, that I'm more flexible to changes if they're reasonable. It's a work in progress. And Carmine said he's going to get us a pick of the bandolier. Yep. I'm guessing that the Windcutter is a ship. Could be an airship. We see the rogue arrive on a ship in the middle of a battle in the lower video. Oh, good point. Yeah, it's like an old sailing vessel. Okay. So I like the way you wrote this to kind of like keep the reader engaged. You may move spaces, occupy. Yeah. So this may be, somebody pointed out, the first time that they have passive abilities. Yeah, there was a Polygon article, and it got the date wrong. It said it was going to go pre-order, or it was going to release in October. Actually, the Rogue Ever Elathorn Hero Collection, which is going to retail, is going to be released December 1st of this year. But yeah, he seems pretty powerful. So here's the pictures. So he gets a dagger and he gets a bandolier. Those are his pieces of equipment. And he gets 3 skill cards. Opportunistic Striker. Once per turn, you may throw 1 extra combat die when attacking a monster next to another hero. Throw instead of roll. Do not discard after use. And then let's go back to the pictures here. So ambidextrous. Once per turn, you may attack with a short sword or dagger. Blah blah blah. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, you've got opportunistic striker, ambidextrous, and what was the third one called? Why am I blanking on this, guys? We said it in the chat. Like somebody said it in the chat because it's on Amazon. It's on one of the other order sites. Well, okay, we'll get to it later in the video, I guess. The Rogue Heir of Elathorn. This HeroQuest character collection includes 2 finely detailed miniatures, 12 game cards, so they just split it down the middle, so 6. 2 of those are equipment. And a story card. Requires HeroQuest game system. Expand your gameplay experience, go deeper and broader into the world of HeroQuest with this nimble skirmisher who has unique powers and skills not possessed by any other HeroQuest character. Choose your hero. Choose to play as the male or female Rogue Heir of Elathorn. Each one has skills as a well-trained knife fighter ready to stand between allies in danger. Well-honed fighting skills. Combat mobility. That's what it's called. Combat mobility. That's the one that allows you to pass through monsters. So it's like having a permanent dusted disappearance. You can just pass through a monster. Ambidextrous. And then opportunistic striker. So ambidextrous is the one where you get an extra attack if you've got the short sword and the dagger. And then opportunistic striker, you get if your enemy is next to a friendly, so a hero, or I guess a mercenary, then you get an extra attack die. You get the one dagger, which combined with the bandolier gives you basically infinite daggers. These cards reveal unique advantages you acquire when playing as this reluctant yet loyal hero. So it's such a trope. It's like, oh man, I don't want the throne. Well, fight for justice then, and eventually you get crowned the true rightful ruler. But there's 2 of them, so it's like you're either the male or the female. So it doesn't mean if you pick one, the other one doesn't exist. Or are they like brother and sister? Do you have to fight for the throne? Are they co-regents? How does that work? You know, because actually, I'm going to reveal some more stuff. So let's get the Gen Con stuff out of the way. Let's finish talking about Amalgamash, his comments, and then let's get into the spoilers, because I really want to go down for that. Yeah, Elviler, awesome article. Thanks for sharing it. Yeah, because we're basically playing catch up. Like a lot of us have not gotten a lot of sleep. We're trying to and people are sharing stuff just like crazy. So yeah, HeroQuest fans Discord. Shout out to everybody that's been reporting. Chris Nadeau from Avalon Hill Hasbro, who shared a lot of stuff right before the convention. He showed like a bunch of photos. That was really cool of him. They're giving away those printouts of the Into the Northlands, errata, and playtesting at the convention. They're giving away those adventure design kit sheets. They're really promoting the heck out of the fact that you can make your own HeroQuest, the fact that you don't have to settle for the rules as is. There's ways to make these super hard quests that they've re-released into something that anybody could play. And Amalgamaster's first point is, don't fix it for me. I can do that myself. That's part 1. Part 2, he's trying to preserve the authorial intent. So he sees it as Avalon Hill's putting their stamp of approval on it, whereas he wants the original, as pure as it can be, and then let me make the changes if I want to. So I can see his point of view. Lord and Carmine was chiming in saying listen, we saw that there was a problem. We're trying to balance it out by lowering the ogre body points to 5. But the question is, what other changes, if any, have they made? And if they release a digital promotional quest, which I'm sure they will do, Will it go the opposite direction and say, hey, if you think it's too easy, here's some ways to make it harder, or here's a way to show you the original way it was. You know, because what's printed on the card is printed on the card. You can print your own card, you can write on a piece of paper, you can do whatever you want. Can the 14-year-old me in 1994 make those changes to fix it? Can the 14-year-old today fix those changes, says Elberg? Absolutely. But see, the pushback that I got, and I feel some of what Amalgamash probably feels, because at one time, I don't remember the thread, but I want to say it was on Yield In years ago. I said something like, I think it was when the Mythic tier was coming out, like it hadn't come out yet. I'm like, oh, I'm not worried if they change Hero Quest, because I can just fix it. I can just change it back to the way I want. And they were like, no, because they're going to leave their... If they change Hero Quest, like if they change the lore, if they change the gameplay, they're leaving their permanent stamp on the game. And so the world, the memory of the game in the world is now going to be that as the default. People are going to think that that's the way it's meant to be played. And there's going to be so many people that are rules as written purists who are just never going to try to change that. And so it's almost like by me changing it, I'm like illegitimate. I'm not good enough. Like I'm a guy who's playing it wrong. That's not the case though, because the whole essence of the game is you don't just get to make your own quests. You get to make your own characters. You get to make your own adventures, monsters, spells. None of that stuff is set in stone. You are not required to, but you are allowed, with the full blessing of the designers, to make your own stuff. They want you to do that. So a lot of these games out there, not talking about HeroQuest specifically, but like Warhammer and stuff, people get this mentality that I've got to buy the official book to justify anything. I've got to buy the official miniatures. I've got to, buy the official paints, all this stuff. But it's like, unless it's a tournament where they are forcing you to follow certain regulations and rules, you can do whatever you want. It's not like someone's going to bust down your door and be like, no, that is not allowed. You cannot play the game that way. Be like, I bought it. I'm doing what I want with it, So if I want to throw it in a wood chipper, or I want to paint everything blue, or if I want to play it using rules that are a combination of chess and Monopoly, I can. I can do whatever I want. But the thing is, like, if you go back to like Warhammer Fantasy 3rd Edition, if you go back to 40K Rogue Trader, you can find passages in the book where they tell you, you want to make up your own planet, go right ahead. You want to use miniatures that we didn't create, go right ahead. Like, they're telling you to do it. They probably like it better if you bought their official stuff. I mean, I don't know if they say that anymore, but back then, they were really free about it. And I think that is, they didn't have to say that. Like, as a fan, as a player, I get to do it anyway. They don't control me. But the fact that they do that is like a nice thing to say. They're acknowledging your own creativity, your own freedom and ability to make the game your own. And so I can see where Amalgamash is coming from, saying like, if you're imposing this on me and saying, no, this is the right way to play, I'm like, that can leave a bad taste in my mouth. Like, no, I want to have the option. Like, I want to start with the pure authorial intent and then make my own. So maybe I'm just belaboring that point, but I just want to give him a fair hearing. I mean, when we were kids, we changed all kinds of stuff about HeroQuest. We tried to understand the rules, but some of it we didn't really get. Like, one thing I'll give you an example of. I guess when I was 12, like, roll 1 red die for each of your mind points. If a 6 is rolled, the spell is broken. I didn't understand that. So we just like made up some other way that it worked. Like, oh, you roll a die, and if it's like less than your mind points, then you got out of it or something. So like, it didn't quite make sense. And we tried to justify it too. We're like, well, maybe the barbarian is like ignorant, so he doesn't know what magic can do, and so he's resistant to it. Whereas the wizard is like freaked out because he knows the implications of magic, so it's hard for him to resist spells or something. So it's just like, it was the opposite of what they intended. But then later we read it again, and we realized like, oh, okay, that's what it is. But we were playing the game like a totally different way. I came up with this thing. I said, well, I don't want to spend all this money like buying plate armor and shields and stuff. What if I just like bought a bunch of helmets and took it to the blacksmith, and he just like hammered that into a suit of armor for me? Yeah, let's do that. So like, I saved a bunch of gold. But like, if I was older, my older self would have said, "Hey, listen, that blacksmith wants to get paid too. He's going to charge you money, so you didn't save any money. You still had to, like, no, I'm the blacksmith. I did it. Well, okay, but you still had to do all the work to do it. So you didn't really. It's like I was just cheating. So then later it's like, okay, fine. I'm going to spend the extra gold. I'll get the plate armor, get the chainmail, get whatever. Yeah. So, but the other thing is you're making it convenient for the players. Yeah, you can complain about kids these days and their attention spans, but if you give them a heads up, like, okay, you open the box, let's play a quick quest. You don't have to like take a college course to like learn how to play this game. Just say, oh, you want a quick easy quest? Here's the beginner rules. You want a harder quest? Here's the advanced rules. Like the Japanese version did that. They included optional rules in the book. They told the GM this is how you should conduct yourself. They said, these 3 quests, you use these simplified rules. Later on, you use a slightly more intermediate, and then later advanced. They eased you into it. It was like, that's possible to do. And we talked about scalable difficulty. You can have the green, yellow, red, purple. Like, okay, here's heroes that have 6 total dice. Here's 5 dice, 4 dice, 3 dice. And you can... and it's all seamless. So every time you're playing, you feel like, yeah, I'm playing the game for real. I'm not like pulling my punches and nerfing everything. But you also don't feel like, man, they just made this quest, just to destroy anybody that ever enjoyed this game and, crush all the fun out of it. Yeah. There's always a kid that just like makes his own quest just filled with monsters, and it takes like 6 hours and it's impossible to win. It's not fun. But then later you learn how to make your own quests. So Count, Cog, Pox, shout out to these Avalon guys like Encarming. We're openly communicating with the community through community channels. I agree, 100%. I love that. I love that give and take. And guess what? They're going to get their own Discord. And I was like, oh no, we're going to be in competition with them now. It's like, no, wait a minute. First of all, how could we be in competition? They've got the backing of Hasbro behind them. They have all the money that they could want. Like, there's no way I can compete with that. But guess what? There's something that we have that they don't have. We're just fans. Like, yeah, there'll be a lot of people on there, but we have the journalistic perspective. Like, we don't have to toe the company line. We have the freedom to say what we want. So, yeah, most of the time we're going to be like, oh, these guys are so great. They're awesome. But what if they make a mistake? We're going to leave feedback. So I think there'll always be an opening for that, to have like that free platform of people who are not necessarily obligated to just praise the company. I mean, I hope they don't view it that way. I hope they don't think, oh yeah, only come here if you're gonna like, kiss our boots or whatever. Like, but I think it'll be a different tone. Just like you're having like an official Star Wars forum versus a Star Wars fan forum. Hopefully the fans are welcome in both places, but one is run by a company and one is just run by fans. So, I mean, there's already multiple HeroQuest Discords. It's not like, oh, there can only be one. It's like we all do different things. Some of the same people hang out in the same ones, so that's cool too. So I'm not worried about that. But at first I was like, oh no, we're gonna lose everybody. I mean, if you want to leave and go there, hey, more power to you. But you're always welcome. Elberg says, I'm just not sure everyone in the DM is the DM that can make those changes. The kid, me, was a player, not a DM. Yeah, that's the thing. So the second youngest of us kids was the DM. The GM, Zargon. So, and, he was pretty advanced for his age, so that was fine. But yeah, a lot of people don't like to be the GM because they feel like it's too much work. Like, it's too distracting. There's too much stuff to manage. I mean, a lot of kids like don't want to be the wizard because, like, oh man, yeah, he's cool because he's got all these powers, but it's like there's so much for you to remember and think of. Your turn takes longer and all this stuff. Maybe you just want it simple. It's like, oh, it's my turn to attack. Roll the dice. There, I attacked. Okay, your turn. It's fast-paced. The kid designed way too OP wizard spells and dungeons full of every single monster in every room on the board. Yeah, every kid has done that. The kid me. Won't leave, just be part of both. Yeah. Thanks, Elviler. Yeah, that's the thing. So when I say my opinion, I'm not trying to alienate anybody. But I'm also trying to say what my opinion is. Like, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, like, because I'm afraid of, like, expressing myself. So I hope nobody thinks that. But yeah, Amalgamash had some good things to say. Let's see. Let's go through some more stuff. Elberg says, I think from a community standpoint, there's a heavy need for scalability rules to be available for the game. I agree. Rules that make the game easier for the novice type player. Agree. And rules for the players who are running campaigns of expansion in order or lore or release order. Yeah, because nobody knows what... Not everybody is going to own everything and play them in the right order, because I played Return of the Witch Lord before Keller's Keep, and everybody's like, no, it's obviously Keller's Keep first. But what if you didn't own either one? What if you went straight into the Frozen Horror, which, you can. You got to account for that. What if all your friends are playing Mage of the Mirror and you didn't get a chance to play any of the others? So how are you supposed to catch up? The game ought to be accessible. Like, yeah, you could say, okay, quick, everybody give him a potion. Everybody give him like half your armor so that he is ready to go. Because otherwise he's going to get destroyed. And put him in the back. Like, I don't know. You're still trying to have a game, right? But maybe he wants to earn that stuff on his own. He or she, Okay. Amalgamash says, this is from the Rantcast, which I had so much fun with that. I hope you did too. I hope you didn't take it too hard. I would absolutely agree, and I've seen Avalon Hill's incredible ability to do that with additional changes. It's sad to see subtractive in my eyes. It's not a big deal, though. It's not a passionate view, just a firm one. Yeah. I'm still going to play and highly enjoy myself. Well, good. Like I said, I mean, he's super positive, so he's showing his humanity here. That the fact that, like, there's things that he likes, and there's stuff he doesn't like. And I'm glad he feels free to express himself. That's what we like. And Hero Quest fans and Rantcast and everything. I'm just going to sigh a little when I pull out the Ogre. Jacer J mentioned that Wolves and Ogres are hero killers. So are the Warbears and Yetis. Lord and Carmine says 10 body point Ogres are slow down the pace of the game. It's just punching a wall. You can change that at my table if you think... Okay, this is the conversation. Elviler, if you think about it, it is its own game now. It's not Milton Bradley Hero Quest anymore. Well, I would argue Milton Bradley is just... it's just all folded into Hasbro. Even back then. It's Avalon Hill Hero Quest now. Again, Avalon Hill Hasbro, part in the same thing. So I think they should make changes where they make sense. Well, yeah, they have the legal right, they have the moral right to do that. They've already added things to the game and had to strip out all the Games Workshop references. It can't be an exact one-to-one replication of the original. Now, if Games Workshop came back and did Advanced Hero Quest remade or Warhammer Quest, they could make it compatible, right? Without stepping on any toes, and you could bring the games together. Think about it. Or they could do a collab. I don't know. I guess that's still a long shot, but I would love it if something like that happened. Anyway, that was my side comment. Amalgamash says, I think it can be because it almost has been. Yes. It has to have had changes, materials, terms, themes. That all makes sense. But the idea that someone has to change something for me will always be a nail tapper for me. Yeah, I get it. You're seeing it as like condescending. Like, oh, is this game too hard for you? Here, let me put these training wheels on. Like, but I don't think they're trying to come across that way. And maybe it's easy for you, but think of all the people that it helps them, And yeah, there's people that are always looking for ways to make the game like harder. It's like, oh man, these quests are too easy. But it's kind of like the opposite. It's like, where's the happy medium? But for you, like a good challenge for someone else is just frustrating and not fun. Okay. Alberg says monsters will move away from the hero after attacking if they have movement available to them. I agree. That's a good tactic. Making it possible for them to attack, move away, and have another monster move in to attack. Yeah, because in the companion app, like a monster will just get in your face and attack you and then just sit there. And then the next turn, they'll just attack you again. It's like, really, they should get out of the way so that the next monster can move forward and attack you. Lauren Carmine says, it has been a conversation multiple times, difficulty setting. Good, thank you. I'm glad you guys are listening to that. Kids these days are so impatient, says Elviler. Amalgamash points out the kids I play with are in their 30s. When they gear up to hit walls, I give them walls. And that led to a great conversation. Strange Boss was sharing about his Jedi Wookiee that kept going to the dark side. Let's see. I could, but I wouldn't. Variable body points was not in the original. Yeah, that was my suggestion. You could use the variable body points from the European version. But yeah, I think the point is he's trying to say, like, listen, I want to start with what the original authors intended, and then I want to make the changes myself. And if they want to make suggestions in a separate product, okay, but don't change, the actual book. So all I can say, man, is if they did, oh man. The Ogre Lord should have his original body points as well. I think I've made my point. I think I appreciate what he has to say. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but I think for some things I take his side. For some things I feel the same way. It's like, don't mess with something if it was already great. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The question is, what if it's broke? Okay, let me just yeah, it was pointed out that there's double the number of elves now. So you've got 2 male elves and 2 female elves in the new pack that are archers and that are swordsmen. So like in the original there was just 2 of each, so there was 4, now there's 8. Let's see. Let me just read the last part. Okay. 30 years of playing the game does not make someone somehow infallibly right about it all. Yeah, I agree. Lots of us disagree on stuff. Exactly. Elberg says, there's a lot of different types of fans for this game, from the hardcore, long-time yield in, to players who briefly played in the 90s and are playing again with their kids now, to a new generation of heroes today. Yeah, and then Amalgamash says, it doesn't matter if I agree or disagree with my fellow players at the table, it's Sargon's game. I'll hold my shield firm to defend you all, and that's 100%. I 100% agree with that. Parting words, Strange Bus. I would never hold your less time with the game against you, and I stand firm by your views on it. Agree? Yeah. So anyway, just shout out to Amalgamash. Check him out on YouTube. He's had some awesome videos this month, and he's going to put out more of them. And if he wants to get some stuff off his chest about the changes, go for it, man. Like, I think the rants that we give out, we're not just haters and bashers. We're passionate. We express ourselves. We're reacting to the game. Like, I'm sure Encarmine isn't here just to hear us like praise everything he says. Like, sometimes we're going to disagree and we're going to give constructive feedback. And he's listening. I mean, he and the other people out there with the company are on all these different social media places and forums and fan hangouts, and they're listening carefully to look at what we're saying, because we're their audience, we're their customers. So there's got to be that give and take. We talked about this on the Rantcast. There's got to be that give and take, and it's important for the product and the future of the community. So it's all good. So don't hold back. All right, Count Cogpox says, when playing the expansions chronologically, where the players are intended to keep the items artifact earned from the prior content, was that the creator's intentions and they balanced for that? Well, yeah, I would say so. Because no matter what expansion you're playing, you can always assume game system required to play. But at the same time, like they say this in the designer notes, they can't assume, oh yeah, you definitely got Borin's armor here. Well, maybe you lost it, maybe you're not the hero that had it. But see, that's why they'll say, like, oh, like in Return of the Witchlord, they're like, if you don't have the Spirit Blade already, you find it again in this particular room. Like, okay. Some of the Mythic tier quests, they'll say, like, oh yeah, and then you find this artifact if you don't have it already. But some of them don't say if you don't have it already, so you could get 2 copies of it, your second copy. And the other thing to keep in mind is that with the artifacts specifically, it says in the instruction booklet, the rule book for the original Hero Quest and the remake, if the monsters steal an artifact or it's lost, you're supposed to make it available again early on as a special treasure in the next quest. And especially if you're going to require it somehow for the story or for that quest. Like if you bring the Witchlord back to life and only Spirit Blade can kill him, you're going to have to give the heroes a way to get the Spirit Blade back. So it's as simple as that. And like, oh, the guy that had it died. Well, you're searching the room and boom, there it is. So some of those on the spot changes, just like is Zargon supposed to remix the dungeon if it ends in failure, like if everybody fled or if everybody total party kill, everybody died. You're meant to make changes like that. That's why the blank quest map is there, minimum, versus making a whole brand new quest. But yeah, it's not immediately apparent. A lot of people just want to just play it as written. It's easy. Yeah. And the other thing is they can't assume that everybody has everything. Like when the Mythic tier came out, like, okay, some people were just getting the game system. Some people were getting Keller's Keepers from the Witch Lord and everything. But now they can't assume that people have the Mythic tier. They might just have the game system box and then one of the expansions that they bought. Because you could go right to it. You know? Super fans like us want to own all of it, but not everybody gets everything. Okay. That was a lot of talk about the Rantcast. Had a great time. Thanks, Strange Bus. The Strange Bus. Go check him out. Amalgamash. Go check him out on YouTube, Twitch. These guys are great. Had a great time with Sir Death on the last live game. And tomorrow we're going to try to do a live game again. I don't know who's going to show up, but we'll just plow right on through. I almost thought, hey, we could play the Elf Quest pack. But we're still in the middle of the Frozen Horror, so I don't know. We'll see what people want to do. So let's talk about Gen Con. So Chris Nadeau was releasing a lot of photos. A lot of people have reported stuff, as I mentioned. Here's one of these photos we've been staring at for a while now. But let's look at some other stuff. And there's stuff coming out constantly. I love the reporting. I love all the reporters, all the people like freeze framing stuff, zooming in on stuff. So there's the quest book here. So the Rogue Heir of Elathorn is the new hero pack, and that's December 1st. So we talked about that. The heroes of HeroQuest are about to get a daring companion with the release of the Rogue Heir of Elathorn. The latest figure in the HeroQuest Heroes collection is a nimble skirmisher who is deadly with small blades, and it's going to be in retail, so none of this exclusive stuff and selling out in one day. Armed with the trusty bandolier, the rogue can combat Zargon's deadly minions from a safe distance. However, to maintain their quickness, the rogue is unable to wear metal armor. Okay, so he could wear bracers, making close encounters even more dangerous. Don't know about the cloak, the wizard's cloak. Maybe not. This item includes 2 highly detailed figures, along with 12 game cards that include abilities unique to the Rogue Heir of Elathorn. This expansion is due out, in October of this year and requires a game. Did they just change that again? Because it was December. Make up your mind, guys. Well, I guess things change. October. Okay, fine. It requires the HeroQuest game system play sold separately. You can pre-order it now here. Okay, $16.99. Well, see, pre-order this item will be available to ship on approximately December 1st. Okay, well, I guess you need to update your page, guys. It's December 1st. Excuse me. December. Things can change, though. Because the Polygon article still says October, but it's actually December. So there's what the Rogue Heir looks like. I don't know if that's full screen or not. It's a good looking miniature. It's a good looking guy. It's knife throwers. Somebody said that they kind of look like the female elf from the ElfQuest pack, because she had like a dagger in one hand and a horn in the other, like a drinking horn or a horn that you'd blow, a war horn. But I don't know if they look that much like it. But yeah, this will be out before the ElfQuest pack. It's a detailed looking box. It looks cool. So Elathorn is Athelorn, the forest where the Stephen Baker, the forest where the Wood Elves dwell in Warhammer Fantasy Battle and RPG, but it's not Athelorn, it's Elathorn. because they had to remove the Games Workshop stuff. So yeah, Stephen Baker doing this. I don't know. I didn't think this animation was as cool. It seems like a lot more repetitive than some of the other ones. Maybe they were so busy they couldn't do more with it. But I mean, the content is great. It's cool. Yeah, it's knife throwing guy. And this is the first male hero that they put. See, it all has the Avalon Hill logo. Someone was saying, "Oh, Avalon Hill is not being promoted." It's like their name is like all over this stuff. Oh yeah, there's the Frozen Horror. So $16.99. So slightly more expensive than the Knight, but it's at least many more people have a chance to buy it. All right, let's check the chat. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us here in HeroQuest Fans. So we've got Cindy K, Elberg, and Count Pox, and Elviler. Yeah. So what else do we have to talk about? So, okay, the Frozen Horror is out. Rogear of Elthorn coming out December. And then spring at 2023 is the ElfQuest pack, which they're not calling the ElfQuest pack, just like they didn't call the remake of the Barbarian Quest pack. Barbarian Quest pack, it was just Frozen Horror. So Elviler did this great article. Can't thank him enough for it. So you've got this this whole image of the little story. So just like the Knight set had that little folded card that gave you just a history of the Knights, a little bit of lore text. Just, you know, there's lore text with the rogue, and that's great. I hope for many more of those types of things. Okay, and there was this artwork. They showed these posters. I think this was swag that they gave away at the convention. So there's obviously the Frozen Horror in the middle, not the elf. That's a good image. And then there's HeroQuest. Yeah, so they actually had some of the Mythic tier stuff on display at Gen Con, leading many to question and wish that maybe some of that stuff will be re-released in retail, even if it's like, you know, slightly modified. Because a lot of people are still miffed that they didn't get a chance to get the Mythic tier HeroQuest, you know, with all those limited edition figures, you know, alternate monsters, alternate heroes, or the Guardian Knights again, even if it's like a resculpt. Now, a lot of there's talking about the HeroQuest card game. I don't care about that, but there's people that are interested in it. And for their sake, I hope they get what they want. Let's just check Ye Olde Inn and see if there's any updates here. Mage of the Mirror. We've been looking at stuff. Okay, so Sir Rick says there needs to be a clarification on the Warp Wood spell. I don't think they've clarified anything in the cards that we've seen thus far. Only the Ogre has changed. I believe the intent was it was to be used on the Elven Archer's bows and Ogre clubs. The Elf, we know, has a secondary attack value of 1 combat die, but nothing's mentioned what would happen to an Ogre if its club is destroyed. Yeah, that's true, that's true. I would assume that... See, they have axes now in the remake version. I would assume that they would still at least attack with 2 because they're a stronger monster, but yeah, maybe it would just go down to 1. Maybe they really are that weak. Or maybe it wouldn't work at all. Rules as written, the spell might have any effect at all since the instructions say monsters attack dice are based on natural abilities, not particular weapons. It's true. Fair enough. Let me just go back here. Not that everything I say is brilliant, but... Okay, the Mage of the Mirror will include a quest book featuring 10 quests, 33 finely detailed miniatures, and 35 game cards that will expand the game for both Sargon and the Heroes. Expansion is expected. Blah, blah, blah. Release. Okay. So, let's see. This was Sind. So, we've got the elf, who is now a male elf. And I want to point out something. See this artwork? So, it's interesting that for the Frozen Horror, on the cover, you see the male barbarian. But when you actually open the box, there's a female barbarian inside. So they show the game system barbarian on the cover. But inside, there's an alternate barbarian. Well, what they did with the ElfQuest pack is the 92 version, you see a male elf on the cover, and inside there's a female elf. But since with the remake Hero Quest, the default elf is female, so that's what you're seeing here. Like, she's got this armor and everything. That's the game system elf for the remake version. They took the original design, which you see down here. I can't really enlarge it, but see this card here? That elf? That's the exact pose and outfit that was on the cover in 1992. They took that male elf and they put him in here. And I'm so glad, because I like the fact that you've got the original 4 heroes back. I mean, nothing wrong with the female heroes. I thought it was awesome that they had alternates for each of those. Because let's face it, I mean, a lot of little kids, it's like, oh, I want to play as the girl. It's like, I want to be the girl. Okay, fine, here's the girl for you. Or the boy's like, I don't want to play as the girl. So it's like, oh, don't worry, you got the boy. You know, so you've got those options. Plus, they're really cool poses and everything. So even that aside. So it's a nice little option. But yeah, just looking at the images here, I think I have a much bigger picture. Here we go. This is not as high res as the one I had, but so we've got all the pieces of furniture. So yeah, it comes with new furniture. Guess what? Ha, surprise. So there's 3 alternate sculpts of treasure chests, 2 doors. Now those doors are actually they're the bases, and you slip the cardboard in. So it's like, oh great, now you can homebrew those again. Because remember we had the all plastic doors, so you could print out your own cardboard and put those in there. 4 grates. Actually, there's portcullises, portculli, like a portcullis. It's plastic. Alternate fireplace, alternate throne, alternate weapons rack. 2 alternate bookcases. Of course, they have the same sculpt of each other, but they're like more ornate. There's a new alchemist table or bench and a new tomb. I wonder if that's the tomb that looks more like the game system one that has the classic game system one that has. It looks like it has an elf laying there as opposed to just a knight, like a generic suit of armor. That's 33. And once again, the elf is red instead of blue. Now the ogres appear to be a dark blue. Or are they gray? Did they make them gray or dark blue? That's interesting. Let me just see if I can get, because I downloaded a much better looking image of that. Oh, hold on. Okay, so got some new comments. I'm pretty confident we won't be getting elf-themed dice and character sheets. Yeah, because they've shown actual pictures of the back of the box. There's no... So it's not the same as the Frozen Horror. Like, I assumed that this was going to be the template from here on, the cookie cutter. But no, there's no alternate dice. There's no alternate character sheets. Instead, it's new furniture, or alternate furniture. And they give us twice as many elf monsters. So the elven archers and the elven warriors or elven swordsmen. There's a male and female of each of those. So originally they were all male, but now there's like some of each. So yeah, I agree with you all, Viler. Yep. Can't wait to play this with my kids when they age a bit. I know the gender debate of who gets what always takes place. Yeah, that's little kids for you. Loving the multiple sculpts being standard now. Yeah. No green dice. Well, hey, there's people that make their own homebrew dice that'll be happy about that because they keep making their stuff. Furniture and additional minis definitely win. Yeah. All right, so let's get that image up here and look at it some more. Because, again, people are at the convention. They can walk up to... These are like glass display cases. They can walk up, take a better picture, and then all of a sudden we're like speculating about different stuff. All right, got to grab the photo. Okay, so I hope you can see that. This is a picture. Several people posted this. I think Do My Montalto posted it most recently. The mirror is the key to saving Princess Melandriel and the realm from evil. It is in this exciting expansion of the Hero Quest adventure. Sorry, my voice is a little like off because we've been yelling Rantcast so much. And it was funny because Strange Bus's microphone has like noise canceling stuff, so like I yelled too loud and it like cut it off. So I'm just like anyway, yeah, as the elf, You must survive. Oh yeah, sorry. You are challenged to confront the diabolical archmage Sinestra. As the elf, you must survive dangerous solo quests to prove your strength and valor before you are joined by your fellow heroes to rescue Melandriel. You will recover a legendary sword, free, that's the Avenger, free 2 of the Queen's attendants, and navigate safely through a treacherous maze. Only then will your fellow heroes join you to gain access to Glennis Fen and pass through the mirror to the realm of reflection to free the princess. Okay, so there we are. So you see there's like right and left-handed versions of each of these characters. So those are the elven swordsmen or elven warriors, and then the elven archers. So there's 2 of each. So there's double the number. And that led me to speculate. Why did they add the extra elves? Was it just for variety's sake? Because they could have just been like, okay, there's just a male and a female of each. But why did they give you extras? Are they going to be like mercenaries? Are they putting extra elves in the quests, or is it just for fun? Because that furniture, I mean, you could use it, you could add it and say, oh, there's 2 fireplaces. Why not use the original and then the elf one, or is it just for variety? It might just be for variety. Now in the picture, it's kind of hard to tell the colors, but there's 4 ogres, and they've got axes now instead of clubs. I think they look pretty cool. They look pretty sweet. Sinestra looks pretty cool. She looks less like an old lady and more like a warrior wizard. And I see the giant wolf is still huge, and it almost looks like he has a surfboard, like he's on a surfboard. But it's a double ellipse-shaped base, so he takes up 2 squares, and he can attack diagonally, just like the Frozen Horror character could attack diagonally. So, but they didn't mess with the size. And then you've got the door. Excuse me. You got the doors and everything here as well. They're right and left-handed. They would be reflections. Something to do with the mirror. Are we certain they're all gender versions? Yeah, because if you look closely, you can see the facial features and the chest shape kind of hint in that direction. So that's what I'm sticking to. And that would follow with their past precedent of giving us sex swap versions of characters, whether they're monsters or heroes. Not always, but
yeah!
Oh yeah! Thank you, Count Cogpox, for subscribing with Prime. You already got it, might as well use it. But no, Eliler makes a good point. What if they are mirror reflections? That's interesting. If they make quest changes, it would be really cool to set up a mirrored board using the extra furniture. Oh, so you've got 1 board over here and 1 board over there. Through the looking glass. The Lotion Master. Where are other people asking questions from? What do you mean? Oh, on Yield In Forum, people are posting stuff. People are posting stuff on, I think, Instagram, Reddit, Discord. People are actually at Gen Con, and I guess just posting stuff from their phones. I'm not there, obviously. I'm just at my home, but I mean, I'm just taking stuff people are saying and putting it in here. Yeah, if you want to ask me a question, go for it, but I'm just getting this from other people who are reporting it. Yeah. So anyway, that's a lot of spoilers, but we still don't know what's in the quest book. But I was speculating, so that there was the Elven Prospector and there's the Elven Princess, but those are just tiles, and they were always tiles, and they're not going to be 3D sculptures. And you can see this wall in the background. That's a piece of cardboard. So the mirrors are cardboard in plastic bases. You can see all these cards here. I think the female elf is actually shown on those elf spells. But yeah, again, just if you can go to Yield In, you can see all the stuff that was from 92. It's just like the other expansions. They're copying it over with revised artwork. And the stuff that I have seen so far, other than the ogre, it seems the wording is the same. Oh, I don't think so, Lotion Master. Are you in a browser? On Twitch? So I'm also looking at like this is Ye Olde Inn right here, forum. I'm looking on this. I'm also looking in Discord here. What are people saying? Yeah, the question about the Dwarf Quest Pack and Wizard Quest Pack, I thought it was hilarious that we were all on that speculation track because of things Carmine said, and then all of a sudden we were, surprise, Elf Quest Pack. Hold on, guys. Let me just... I'll just need to check one thing here. For a second, I thought that might be, whoops, might be breaking news. Oh, come on, what's happening? Nope. Okay, no breaking news yet. Too many, I got too many windows open. Okay, so we're talking about Gen Con and all this stuff going on. All the spoilers from the ElfQuest pack. So it's hard for me to tell if those ogres are blue, like dark blue, or gray. Let's ask it in the chat here in the Discord. Are the ogres dark blue in this remake, or are they gray? I'm hoping they're dark blue because we're starting to get too many gray figures. And yeah, you can paint them, but not everybody wants to do that. Elviler had his cool battle simulator. I think if you could add extra parties to this would be even cooler. But this is awesome that you did that. I love it. Good for playtesting. Venture Design Kit 2022 leaked. Okay, we already knew about this. They're just giving it away at Gen Con. It's a piece of paper. It's more of a promotional tool than anything because the icons are the wrong size. But it's showing you a blank quest map daring you to make your own adventure. Okay, here was this image again. Yeah, there's two old-style HeroQuest doors with the cardboard mirrors from the original version. I'm guessing they're placeholders. No, I think that's final. You just buy 11 copies of the new ElfQuest pack. Easy. And then you've got a full set of interchangeable doors. Let's see what else. Yeah, what are the extra elves for? There's going to be a lot of spoilers, guys. I haven't even gotten to the spoilers yet. Okay, so Wally Dub says, I find it interesting they have extra elven warriors and archers. Did anyone ever realize that the elven archers are only present in 2 quests in Mage of the Mirror? So I'm curious as to why the change, unless they made several changes to the quests as well. It'll be interesting to see. But it could be that the extra elven figurines could be used as placeholders for Mirandriel and the Elven Prospector. Well, sure, I guess. But why not just make those then? Well, I guess they wouldn't have to design a new mold for it. It'd be cheaper. They did reduce the body points of ogres, which is a good thing, but by reading the Ancient Staff card, clarifications on equipping... Oh, I know what he's talking about. So, there's a little bit of a question with the original version of the ElfQuest pack regarding some of the equipment, because they'll call it like the Elven Boots. The Ancient Staff allows the elf to, like, the wording makes it sound like only the elf can use it, but some of the cards say may only be used by the elf, and other ones don't say anything like that. So technically, if it doesn't say that, then it should be usable. I mean, we had this debate with the HeroQuest game system when they ported the hand axe in from the European version. There was a hand axe. It doesn't say may not be used by wizard. So people are like, fine, I guess the wizard has a new weapon now. Because the short sword says, may not be used by the wizard. Battle axe may not be used by the wizard. Chainmail may not be worn by the wizard. Shield may not be carried by the wizard. But hand axe doesn't say that. So if it doesn't say may not be used by the elf, then I guess it's made by elves, but it can be used by anyone. And then the question was, what about the bandolier for the rogue Heir of Elethorn? If he dies and someone else picks up his bandolier, what happens to it. If it says can only be used by the rogue, okay, fine. But apparently it has a gold value on it, so someone else could like get it off his dead body and sell it to get some stuff. They are gray. Oh. Really, Elverg and Elviler? Oh yeah, Lotion Master, welcome to our Discord. Thanks for doing that. Okay, Elverg says, if they do another Pulse campaign in the future, there will probably be a good opportunity to make some exclusives by creating some of those single-use minis. Yeah, I suppose. But I mean, like, I vowed to myself I wasn't going to support the exclusive limited time stuff anymore. Like, if this had all been a one-shot and the Mythic tier was all that was happening and nothing else after that, I would have kicked myself that it wasn't involved. But I really would have felt bad saying, like, you know, HeroQuest should be for the masses. It should be in department stores. It should be in retail stores. It should be like the basic game. Like, let's play some fantasy tabletop adventures. Oh, there, HeroQuest. Let's just, you know, very accessible, very easy to get, rather than, oh, no, it's only for elite collectors and hardcore people who are, you know, scanning the internet constantly for collectibles, or scalpers. I mean, that whole thing. Like, and Carmine over and over is just like, man, these scalpers are not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy. It's like, good. I mean, there's other ways to make a living, right? Hopefully. A little less shady. Okay, let's see. Elverg says, look very much dark gray. But see, I wonder if that's the flash from the camera. I mean, they look very similar in color to the gray furniture, unless the furniture is also dark blue. But see, I thought the mercenaries for the Frozen Horror looked like they were dark blue in the pictures. And they're actually gray. But I think that actually changed. I think the original pictures were dark blue. Because dark blue is one of the colors they used. But in the original 92 version, the ogres would have been dark blue. Just like the boss ogres in Against the Ogre Horde, just like the Wizards of Morkar. Although I think the Wizards of Morkar were even more like deep blue, like midnight blue. Whereas I have a few of the 92 ogres, because there's no way I could afford the ElfQuest pack for, you know, $600 or whatever it is. But a couple of the figures, yeah. And they're like kind of a dark bluish gray. And that could be because they're faded because they're 30 years old, but yeah. They're gray. The elves and wolves are light blue, says Elviler. Yeah, well, okay, something more for me to paint. I'm going to be painting them dark blue, guys. That's what I'm doing. Now, if you paint them red, then it would be more like Against the Ogre Horde, because the default Ogre Warriors were red. Elverg says, extra elves are also just good for helping the community, home content. So, like most things, they're overblown. Most likely the simplest reason is true. Yeah, I suppose. It'd be like if they threw some extra orcs into the pack. It's like, wait a minute, why are there extra orcs? Are the quests gonna be harder? Are these like mercenary orcs? Like, yeah, we don't know. But I'm just thinking the fact that, like, one of my suggestions, and I'm sure other people have done this too, is say, what if you own both the Frozen Horror and Mage of the Mirror? Like in Frozen Horror, you can hire mercenaries. Why can't, like, you've unlocked that ability, so why can't you just hire mercenaries in every quest now? Hire some before you go on the elf quests. It doesn't mention them, or does it? So, but maybe you could hire, like, elf mercenaries. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be an easy homebrew anyway. Elverg says, it should be for the masses, but Sir Ragnar doesn't break anyone's game. I agree. Because, yeah, you're going to make a miniature that's only used in that one quest. Like, I'd like a Sir Ragnar figure like an armor. Like, he's freed and, you know, he can have his own adventures. Rather than, oh, he's a prisoner. Like, he's always a prisoner? I mean, yeah, use your imagination. Elverg says there's an ogre right next to the door in the pick, exact same color. Yeah, I suppose so. I suppose you're right. I didn't want to believe it. I don't know. It looks like it might be a little lighter, but it could be just the shadow. Again, you know, the light can play tricks. You know, flash photography. But yeah, it looks really close to the same color. I mean, you know, it's that old trick where you put the two lines next to each other and one looks longer than the other. Like this one on the left looks like it's a lighter color than the one in the middle. This one looks like a lighter color, but that just could be because of all those details. It catches the shadow more. That looks very similar. That looks darker. But again, it could be catching the light. Yeah, it's probably the same color. It's probably all gray. And if that's the case, I'm going to get like some navy blue paint and just like paint them that color, that shade, just to make it more like the original. Yeah, and you can see the artwork is very similar. Of course, there they show the ogres with all kinds of weapons that they didn't have in the game because they've all got the same axe. But that was true of the original too. I mean, they showed them with weapons. And these ogres look small. They're like not towering over the heroes. Of course, they're not super huge. They're not like the Frozen Horror. They're just a little bit taller than the regular players. Plus, these guys are hunkering down. All right. Oh, Amalgam Ash is... So I'm trying not to show you these conversations because I don't know if they're going to say something that is a spoiler, but 1 minute. Yeah, that's just Amalgam Ash. Yeah, I just want to make sure I gave him a fair shot because he can say what he wants in his own video, but like when he's only in chat, I kind of feel like he's at a disadvantage because we've got the microphone and everything. So yeah, it's cool. All right, let's see. Elverg says I'm gonna homebrew Elf Mercs for sure. Yeah, and Ogre Mercenaries too. Count Cogpox, I thought you got both versions of Ragnar in the Mythic set. No, you did not. You only get Sir Ragnar's as a prisoner, and he was red like a hero, even though he had no card. And there was a red mentor-looking wizard who was just a generic like alternate of the wizard. There was a female wizard, female barbarian. There was a male elf because the female elf was the default one in the remake pack, and a female dwarf. And then there was a yellowish white figure, the witch for the Witch Lord. Elverg says, but matched them to the same power levels of the Frozen Horror Mercs. Elf Bowman has 4 attack dice range and crossbow has 3. But why, Elverg? Why not keep their monster stats as Mercs? Like, they don't have to be the same price. These mercenaries are just stronger. Maybe you need them because you're fighting 10 body point ogres, right? Or 5. Elverg says you need a spoiler image icon when discussing spoilers on stream. And oh, you know, that's a great idea. Darn it. I wish I'd thought of that. Thank you, Elverg. So, why would anyone get the crossbowman? Well, that's the thing, Elverg. Because the cheaper, if you have less gold, you can either buy more of the cheaper mercenaries or you can buy less of the stronger mercenaries. Right? Plus, they're limited in supply. So what if somebody has bought all the elf mercenaries already? All the ones that are left are the human mercenaries, so you buy them. But yeah, you could say, well, why would I ever buy a halberdier because I can just buy a crossbowman? You know, or why would I ever buy a crossbowman or a halberdier because I can just buy a swordsman? He's better, but he's more expensive. And once they've all been purchased, you can't purchase more. Hey, Alviler, thank you so much, because you've made cool graphics for us in the past. If you want to do that. Or probably decrease their body points or something to compensate, make it the same price. You could. But then, yeah, if you're gonna make them identical, like, I hear what you're saying. You're saying, just like you have alternate furniture, like you just use this furniture, the elf furniture instead of the regular furniture. You could give them the identical stats. So the elven archers would be the same as the crossbowmen, and the elven swordsman would be the same as the regular swordsman. So you don't have an elven halberdier, or you don't have an elven scout. But yeah, you could do that. But I'd say why not give them different stats? Just make it a different price. And there's fewer of them to hire. Just need something up in the corner so someone knows to mute twice or fast forward. Well, see, I can put chapters. I'm just going to label the whole thing as spoilers. Really. You guys know that there's going to be spoilers. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. You were warned. Okay, here is what I finally am getting to, because I don't think any other big revelations are coming down the pipe right now. Let's talk about some spoilers here. So I'm just going to throw up the intermission screen real quick here and get those spoilers for you. So, let's see. Yeah, this is the one I want. Okay.
Oh yeah! Yeah!
Oh yeah! Got some subs. Thank you, Lotion Master. Oh shoot, you subscribed twice? Oh, you used your Prime. Okay, because I was gonna say, like, don't subscribe twice. Like, gift a sub. Because there's no refunds, man. I hope you didn't lose your money there. 10 of 14. Okay. Yeah, it posted it twice for some reason. Thank you. Always appreciate the subs. Better check your Amazon, but I don't think it would charge you twice. Okay, yeah, we're trying to get 14 subs, and we're already at 10. That's awesome. I was thinking like 14, like the 14 quests. Because we got to over 100 followers. No, thank you so much, you guys, for your generosity. Appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to show these screens, and again, I don't want you to think that I'm like hoarding this stuff, because this is a preview. Luca Pasci gave me permission to show this stuff to you guys, and it's going to be available like really, really soon. Just like when Amalgamash did his videos, like it's going to be really available soon to like everybody. So keep in mind, these are rough notes from 1992. These are draft notes. But I think this will give us possibly some insight into why there are more elves included in the pack, and possibly what other changes may have happened. So I was already speculating that the reason we have more elves is because the ogres are weaker, right? So to compensate, they may be putting in different monsters. Check this out, though. These are spoilerific spoilers for the ElfQuest pack. These are the draft notes, though, so this is not part of the finished version. So let's take a look. Okay, this is interesting. What's with the ogres? This designer has ogres all over the place in the quest, but I can't find them. I'm quoting. Can't find them in the game system, and they're not in the components list for this quest pack. But they are on the monster chart and cards. Are they really here or not? If yes, then how many ogre figures are there? Are these the ogres from the Brits Ogre Horde pack? If so, are all 7 ogres here? I have replaced them with Fimir or other comparable monsters. If the ogres are really here, please tell me, and I'll reinstate them. Boom. There's variants here. There are lots of map tags that are totally illegible on my copies of maps 7 and 8. See, they should have used the icons instead of drawing them for the final draft. Could I get either the originals or more clear copies? Thanks. So, and let me just, because I don't want to show you the entire thing. Oh, I'm just reading it. Oh, cool. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do from the beginning. So we're thinking about the ElfQuest pack and what might be inside there. I have seen posts from Encarmine where someone asked him, well, what about these lost quest packs and what about these lost notes? And he's like, we have everything. We have physical copies of everything. And I was like, oh, interesting. Because let's go back to Amalgamash's point. He was saying the reason I object to changes are 1, I can change it myself. 2, what about the original author and their intent for the quest? Like, you're changing it. You're arbitrarily changing it. These are new people. Yes, they have the moral and legal right to do so because they own it. But what about the original author? And he said, essentially, if the original authors of these quests signed off on it or approved it and said, sure, I think that's a great improvement, he'd be okay with it because he would feel like they were being honored and respected like that. Like, I get that. But consider Avalon Hill has a way to do that. Are you sharing a screen? We just see your live view of Discord. Yeah, sorry, Elberg. I fixed it. I wasn't sharing my PDF, but that's okay. I just intended to read it, not show it to you necessarily. I will show some stuff from the PDF later. The thing is, like, they could get one of these designers and like ring him up on the phone and be like, "Listen, we're changing your quest. Do you approve?" Yeah, sure, I guess. Okay. Like, they could do that. But what they could also do is they could go back into the draft notes. Because keep in mind, for each of these proposed quest packs, Barbarian, Elf, Dwarf, and Wizard, you had at least one person working on each one. I think you had a separate person doing artwork, maybe one or two people doing art, and you had an editor, like a master editor, director, or whatever, who approved and disapproved changes and asked questions. So, I mean, it wasn't just like one person doing all of it. But some of the things that they had in the drafts didn't make it to the final version. So if you go back to the draft, if Avalon Hill goes back to the draft notes for inspiration, in a sense, aren't they honoring, in a way, what the authorial intent was? Just like with the Yeti Hug, you could say in the 92 version of the Frozen Horror, the Yeti Hug cannot be escaped. It just does damage, and you better have a buddy to kill the monster off you to survive. But guess what? In the draft notes, you could escape it. So by them putting in the companion app a way to escape the Yeti Hug, an option to toggle on and off, they're actually getting closer to the original author's intent. It'd be like if somebody, like if Disney edited Star Wars based on George Lucas's drafts. Like maybe he never wanted to do that, but you could say, hey, but at one time that was his idea. The game doesn't really belong to the designer. Yeah, I get that. But that's the thing. It's like somebody could buy Hero Quest from Hasbro tomorrow and just change the game completely. And it's like, would you have to like it? Would you have to accept it? I think there's some fans that would just say, no, screw you. I like it the way it was before. Like, just call it something else. But I mean, they'd have the legal and moral right to do it. Or maybe at least the legal right. I don't think they would need to if the designer's working for the company. They would have signed away their right. Yeah, they're just saying, look, it's just a job. You hired me to create this quest. You know, it's not like I have any creative control beyond that. Yeah. But I mean, you can have your own opinion. Maybe you think, you know what? The first guy that wrote it, his vision ought to be honored. Because the product, you can't stop the product from coming to the market. It's not like you can sue the guy and be like, no. It's like, no, legally they have the right. Okay, so so the editor is commenting. Okay, so more spoilers. Spoilerific spoilers here. So the quests were different. The monster placement, the enemy placement was different. Because guess what happens if you take away ogres? And they always had 10 body points. As far as I can tell, they always had 10 body points in this version. Why did they up it to 10? I'm not sure. I'll have to keep reading to see if there's any clue to that. Because they were like 1 to 4 in the European version. So I wrote it down. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. So the Rogue Heir of Elathorn, he's got 1 attack die, 2 defend die, 5 body points, 4 mind points. Sorry, just said that. Going back to the... Okay, so in the... Did I even write it down? Okay, so if you look at the European exclusive against the Ogre Horde, the Ogre Champion was just like the Ogre Warriors. It's variable. So the first Ogre you meet, maybe he's got 1 body point. The next one's 2. The next one's 1. The next one's 3. The next one's 1. The next one's 4. The next 2. And every quest is different. So you never know until you encounter them what it is. There's an Ogre Chieftain. He has 3. There's an Ogre Lord. He has 4. So multiple body point monsters did exist in the European Hero Quest. It's just that they were in against the Ogre Horde. They were in the Dark Company and Wizards of Morkar. But otherwise, you had Chaos Warriors with 1 body point. The Witch Lord with 1 body point. It's like, wow. Get that lucky hit in and you won. And going back, I calculated in 1992 in the U.S., there was 54 official HeroQuest quests available. In 93 in the UK, there was 57 total HeroQuest quests, official ones, available. Now, globally, you could say, oh, there were 77 total unique ones, because you got the Japanese quest to add in there as well. But as of next year, officially, globally, with the remake, you're going to have 95 total quests, if you're counting the Mythic stuff. If you're not counting the Mythic, it's 58. So it's still more than the UK had, officially, back in 93. So they're probably going to keep releasing stuff. Let's see, back to what we were talking about. Let's check the chat here. Spoilerific spoilers. The game doesn't really belong to the designer. Yeah, it's true. Fair or not, it is the case. So the guy that does the artwork, the guy that writes the quest, the editor, I mean, it's nice to credit all those people, but with board games, usually it's just the company. And maybe you'll know like one or two like figureheads, product heads. Like we know Doug Hopkins wrote a specific quest. But I mean, if he leaves the company, well, guess who owns it? Hasbro does. It's not like he can just be like, nope, you can't do my stuff anymore. I mean, unless they sold it to him. I don't know how the legalese works, so I probably shouldn't speculate. But as far as I understand it, yeah, you're right. That's just how it is. Okay, so back to spoilers for the ElfQuest pack from 92. Things were a little darker originally. Okay, so Quest 2. Right now, the plot of that quest, from 92 at least. Okay, I'm just going to read, and this is spoilers, okay? You were warned. Quest 2, quote, I've changed quite a bit here. I thought it was confusing to have more of the Queen's sisters brought into this. That would give us a queen, a daughter, an evil sister, and 2 dead sisters. Just too much confusion with all these family members, in my opinion. So I changed the sisters to 2 of the Queen's attendants, since it's a real bummer and pretty pointless to drag some bones back to show the Queen. And I've changed it so the women are found alive. I've placed them in room, I'm not going to say what room. Several of the map changes noted below are to make this room the last room the elf probably enters, as befits the climax to the quest. And the notes say, I agree, I agree. Room, redacted, originally contained an ogre, but I couldn't find an ogre figure listed in either the game system or this quest contents. Please let me know if I missed the ogre somewhere, but for now, I've changed the ogre to a Fimmer and added a wolf. And you'll notice if you check the 92 version, whether it's on Phoenix's pages or your copy, it's a Fimmer, a femur, not an ogre. Also in room, redacted, I have moved the secret door from the eastern wall to the western wall. Okay, that other stuff, not as important. But think about that. I always thought it was kind of weird that you get the chest, but there's a chest in the room that's apparently empty, I guess. And the 2 attendants, the female attendants, are there. After you kill the monster, they follow you back to the stairs, but there's no tile, there's no figure, there's no rules. Like, are you carrying them on your shoulders? Like, how are they following you? What, you just it's just imaginary, and it's anticlimactic too, because you've by that point you've probably killed all the monsters, unless you're still searching for treasure and getting wandering monsters. You've killed all the monsters already, so you're just slogging back to the beginning with these invisible, imaginary like attendants. So the real plot is, let me read it to you. Okay, once I get to it. Quest 2. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Looking at the second draft. Okay, here we go. So yeah, once all the stuff gets released, you'll see the ElfQuest pack changes to apply, and the ElfQuest pack first draft with comments and first draft with comments too. Show the PDFs. It's taking me a while to find this. Just make sure I'm not. Showing you too much here. Sorry, guys. Welcome to HeroQuest fans, and I hope you're having a good time while I look for these spoilers. Okay. Okay. Elf Quest Pack, Solo Quest 2. Put the crypt in here. Keep the gold in the chest, but have the crypt contain 2 small elven skeletons wearing royal dress and delicate elven jewelry. Zargon should tell the hero that the remains may be carried out in a chest, but to do so will mean the hero moves only using 1 red die. Tell the player who is carrying the bones to make note on his sheet. So, wow, really dark. Players could go in and out in this quest. The object of the quest is just 2 rooms away from the stairs. Move the skeletons to room redacted and put the redacted treasure in redacted. There's an interesting note here. So wolves are 2 square-based monsters for map symbols. So I guess originally somebody misunderstood and put them as 1 square monsters instead of 2 square. There's some other very small changes here in the draft. Let's see. Let's go through them real quick here. So the original version of, well, the draft notes of Mage of the Mirror Elf Quest Pack. So Hypnotic Blaze was called Fire Mirage. The Ancient Staff was called the Ancient Staff of Wisdom. Time Stop was called Stop Time. I know, not that different, right? Twist Wood was called Twisted Wood. And guess what? Flashback, that elf spell called Flashback, was called I Didn't Do That, with an exclamation point. I didn't do that. Slow was called Extend Time. And then the spell called Disappear had a note saying like Whiz Pack, invisibility spell. So the Wizard Quest Pack would have had an invisibility spell. Let's see. So the elven attendants were originally the sisters of Torellia, who were dead at the end of Quest 2. And so you somberly carry their bones in the chest back to her with rolling 1 die. It's like, man, that's dark. So they changed it. But now it's just kind of ambiguous. Like, how are you escorting them back? Okay, here's another major spoiler. Let's see, where was it? Let me find it again here. I believe it's Quest 6. Oh, come on, where is it? Oh, it's in the comments. See, I have so much fun with this, but it takes a while to locate stuff because you can't do text searches. You gotta actually locate it. Oh, it's funny. Quest 5. They are now stuck with no hope of getting out except by divine intervention. Parentheses. Zargon hands them the key or says, "Oops, I was wrong. The secret door is still there, and it really does open from this side." Yeah. See, they admit that the GM has to make that call sometimes. Okay, Quest 6. Spoilers. There were originally 5 elven archers in this quest. Remember, the release version only had 2. There were 5 elven archers in this quest, only 2 of which are the ones the heroes are looking for. I eliminated the 3 elven archers who are not in room redacted. This way we don't confuse the players about which archers are really the good guys and why they're still attacking, etc. I replaced the 3 archers with Fimmer. It doesn't really make much sense to me that the 2 elven archers the heroes are looking for are right near the start of the quest. As long as it's okay with you, I'm moving them to the redacted with the wolves and Fimmer, formerly ogres. This way the goal of the quest actually occurs near the physical end of the map. Okay, so now I'm going to get to the actual quest so that you can see some more stuff. You can see the alternate monster placement. I'm not going to show you the final version but I will show you the draft version so that you can compare. And so the thing is, you could easily change your quest to be more like this, to be more like the original authorial intent. So let's see, I think the only example is quest 8. I'm looking. Maybe it is just one. Okay. Draft. That's the second draft. No, that's the first draft. Let's look at the second draft. I know, you're not seeing this yet. I'm not sharing it yet, but I will. I'm just checking to see if I have any other maps. Okay, so these are the maps revised. Ogre is OG. I like it. OG. Okay, these are going to be full of spoilers. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the browser and just add the PDF so you can see what I'm talking about here. We're over time, but I'm just going to keep going because I've got more to say. All right, there we go. Boom, spoilers. Okay, so this is quest 1. And I'm just going to compare it for the sake of ease. I'm just going to look at Hero Quest by Phoenix, which again is not 100% exact to the original, but it's pretty darn close. Just a couple typos he made. So what I'm looking at right now appears to be the same as what we got in the final version. I'm not seeing changes. But yeah, again, this is draft, and this is a preview. I mean, Luke Kapashi is going to be releasing these more publicly soon. Okay, there's quest 2. Yes. Okay, see where that pink stuff is in the spoilers? So already we've got a change here. So originally there was an ogre in that room there, that center room, and there was another ogre down here. So that has changed. Yep, interesting. So it's an alternate. And remember, this is when they had 10 body points. So these quests, they actually dumbed the quests down like during the development phase. Like they were even harder before that. But hey, if you wanted to try that, you could. Let's see what else we've got here. Quest 3, spoilers. Again, ogres, check it out. See those big pink blotches? Those are ogres. As if you needed any prompting. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. And sure enough, because normally you don't encounter ogres in the first 3 quests. Let's see what else they did. Oh yeah, that is the killer quest right there. Major spoilers. Okay. Missing a wandering monster. Yeah. Fight a 10 body point ogre in the solo quest. If the elf or rogue are fully geared, doing the solo could be fun. Kite them. Add just hit. Yeah, the ogres were always single square monsters. Ogres were always single square. Giant wolves were accidentally single square, corrected back to intended 2 square. Yeah, guys. Yeah, so subs don't have to see that. But yeah, the original quests, the original drafts, the quests were harder. I mean, they messed up some stuff like doors were in the wrong place or that there were dead ends. Monsters were kind of moved around. Thought there were 2. Nope. No. The Frozen Horror boss in the Barbarian Quest pack was a 2-square monster. In this remake, they made him 4 squares. The giant wolves were 2 squares. Of course, the miniatures kind of hung off of the base a little bit, so it almost looked like they were 3 squares, but they're meant to be 2. And so they actually modified it so he's not hanging off the base quite so much. It's more like vertical. So it's a little easier to tell that, yeah, it's meant to be a 2-square monster. But they goofed it up and made him 1 square. But that made me think of Snow Dasher from Into the Northlands. Like, oh, 1 square. Alright, so you've had that spoiled for you. So let's look at some more stuff. Yeah, the pink blotches are supposed to be where stuff changed. Here's Quest 6, so let's look at that. Again, this is just a preview, and these were not final. Okay, so Quest 6. I mean, if you're Zargon, you don't mind this, but if you're a hero, you probably shouldn't be watching this, or you should erase it from your memory before you play. Or tell Zargon to remix the quest, just in case you've got a photographic memory. Oh, yep. Oh no. Okay, wait, what am I seeing? Let me see. Okay, so this one they've changed already. So this actually looks more like the final version. Some of the stuff they forgot to color in orange, some of the traps. But it's funny how it's all hand-drawn, like they didn't use the icons. Nobody did. Even the designers, yeah. It's just much easier. I mean, just imagine, back then they would have had to photocopy this stuff. I mean, all they did was they photocopied the blank page, and then they just drew it in with pen. Not in pencil. There's Quest 7, more spoilers. What is this? Take it out. What is that? I'm not even sure what it says. Oh, mirror. What is this mirror? Take it out. It's just funny. Yeah, when you got an editor breathing down your neck, it's like you got to do it. You got to work on it. Okay, whoops. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, Quest 7. Yeah, I've got too many windows open here. Sorry, folks. I need like multiple monitors, right? So that's why I got to eBay. No, I'm kidding. Only sub if you want to. Use your Prime subscription you're paying for anyway, right? 100 monster. I'm just looking for changes here. Any differences? But yeah, the fact that the ogres, I just zero in on that. It's like, okay, the ogres are different. Yeah, there's no mirror. It's pretty close to the original. Oh, there's a treasure chest that was changed. Yeah, so in room D, they added a treasure chest. There's probably other stuff I'm just missing, but I mean, I'm looking at this for the first time. Okay, more spoilers. Quest 8. Yeah, if you were avoiding spoilers, you've tuned out completely. Oh shoot! Wow. There were 2 ogres. They reduced it to 1 in this quest. Yeah. 2 ogres in 1 room. Let me zombie, skeleton, da 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 da. Okay, but I know that there's another change, so I'm going to switch over to another document here. Yeah, this is ElfQuest Pack Maps Revised. Okay, so this... Oh, it's harder to see because it's photocopied. Okay, so these rooms are very different. So in this one room, they have a wolf, they have a femur, and well, 2 wolves and a femur. Well, in the original, the femur would have been an ogre. In the next room, okay, you got a zombie, a mummy, skeleton. There's a mummy and a chaos warrior instead of some of these skeletons. They're like in the wrong place. Okay, so the final version had a zombie, 4 skeletons, a mummy, and an ogre. This version has a zombie, or 2 zombies, 3 skeletons, 2 mummies, and a chaos warrior. And a little scribble that I can't tell what it is. Let's see. Chaos Warrior, Wolf, and Wolf in the draft version. In the final version, they added a skeleton, and they took away one of the wolves. Okay. See, that's the same. Okay. The table room, in the final version, there's an ogre. The original version, or an earlier draft version, there's 2 femmers and a wolf. So it's totally different. So 2 femmers, so that'd be 4 and then 5. So 9 body points versus 10 body point ogre. Oh, in the next room, there's 2 wolves in the final version. In this draft version, there's 2 femmers. Big difference. Yeah, I wonder if other quests were as different as this one. This is quest 8 in the draft notes. So in the draft notes, it says 2 mummies, 2 skeletons, and a wolf. Final version, 2 skeletons, a mummy, and a wolf. So they took away one of the mummies. Let's see, skeleton, skeleton, zombie, zombie, mummy, skeleton. Okay, so it was 3 skeletons, 2 zombies, and a mummy. This is 1 skeleton, 2 zombies, and 2 mummies in the finished version. Such a nerd going through with a fine-tooth comb. Okay, so in the tomb room, okay, so in the tomb room they added a skeleton, or they removed a skeleton in the finished version. So it's just the 2 femmers and the orc. There's no skeleton. So it's like scalable difficulty right there. Alternate version. You could have an extra page. Flips over and it's like, here's the advanced version. Let's see the much longer version. And the placement is different too. Like, so they're like in different squares in the same room. They're not necessarily in the exact same positions. 2 zombies, skeleton, 2 wolves. Okay, so in the finished version of this adjoining room, they added another skeleton by the door. Monsters by the door do make a difference. Monsters next to traps, monsters next to doors. Because when you enter the room, it's like, okay, who can I attack? If someone's blocking the door, unless you got the rogue now. Okay, 2 skeletons, 2 zombies. It's the same. 2 wolves, 2 chaos warriors. Chaos warriors. Oh yeah, the center room is different. So in the draft version, there's a. Oh, I gotta check. Does G stand for goblin or gargoyle? There's 2 skeletons. In the finished version, there's a gargoyle. Just there's so few goblins, it's kind of hard to tell. Let me switch back. Whoa, switch back over. Look at the key. Okay, so G is gargoyle. Oh, okay. So the center room in Quest 8 had 2 extra skeletons with the gargoyle. So it was harder in the draft version. Oops. Okay. So this is this black and white image you're seeing is from the first draft. Alright, let's see. The release version bugs me as it breaks the rule of mixing undead with live characters. Yeah, I suppose. Hey, Strange Bus, welcome. Okay, there's lots of spoilers in here. I hope you don't have a photographic memory, because by the time you play this quest, you might know. Alright, I gotta get caught up on the chat. I was getting sucked into that analysis. So we're looking at the draft notes that Luca Pasci has been so kind to provide, and this is just a preview. He's going to be releasing these to a wider audience. So this, to me, is a clue, possibly, what Avalon Hill may be doing now, because they have these notes. They have these notes in their possession. So if they're tweaking and bug fixing and rebalancing the ElfQuest pack, they may be referring to this. And in a lot of cases, the quests were easier, but in some cases they were harder. So they could make like an Iron Man version of the ElfQuest pack and release it. And Amalgamash would... I mean, Amalgamash he has his own opinion about stuff, of course, and I respect it. But these draft notes are closer to the original designers, what they wanted. I mean, the editor nixed a lot of the stuff, and we saw the final version in '92. The remake version could be something totally different, or it could be a return to the old draft notes, or it could be a modification that's easier. Okay, so yeah, ogres were always single squares, giant wolves were 2 squares. So even, whoops, it's really hot in here too. Okay, that's a rule. And it's not a rule, it's just a convention of the idea of mixing undead with like other types of monsters. So usually like the undead would be like in a tomb by themselves, unless you're playing like the Return of the Witch Lord, and then they're all everywhere. Elverg says, but this still has a Chaos Warrior with those undead. Well, maybe you take the helmet off and it's a skeleton underneath, right? Or maybe he's a sorcerer who's commanding them. I mean, that could be. Elviler says it makes sense, but didn't think it was a rule. Yeah, it's not a rule, but all quests up through this pack did not mix the two. I think some people have commented that the Japanese version didn't obey that rule strictly. But other than that, yeah. Elvila says, makes sense. You don't want some of your minions eating your other minions. Well, I reasoned in my headcanon was that the reason the ogres and the orcs don't eat the skeletons and the zombies is because they taste bad. Spoiled. And they only like to eat living flesh. Maybe they don't like... Yeah, it's like, I don't know. They're allies. They've been warded with magic so that they won't be attacked. Or maybe in your house rules they can go haywire and attack anybody. I just think they're controlled. Zargon's controlling them with his magic, and so he's making sure they're not gonna... There's gonna be no infighting between his troops. Only the ogres are supposed to be the unpredictable ones. It's like, oh, they just fight for the highest bidder or who gives them the most meat. Elverg says, I'd be curious if you were to look at the base game and Mage of the Mirror, whether changes were made because of limits of total available monsters as well. Could be, yeah. Not sure totals would have been. Well, see, the thing is, as long as you don't put too many monsters in one room, anything is possible. Because, okay, what if your wandering monster doesn't bring too many monsters in? Like, let's say you're in a room with 4 skeletons, and the wandering monster in that quest is 4 skeletons. Well, guess what? You're going to kill all those skeletons before you can search for treasure anyway. So it's not like you're going to search for treasure and all of a sudden you've got 8 skeletons and I don't have enough. And I have to go buy more. or wait until the skeletons are killed and then suddenly these other 4 just appear out of nowhere. Or you have to, like, you know, get pieces of cardboard and create little fake, you know, proxies for those miniatures to make it happen. Keep playing the game. I don't think I've seen any problems thus far. It's like, yeah, there's sometimes people play a quest where they run from room to room opening doors instead of killing the monsters, and so all of a sudden you run out. But they always understood that in the rules, is that in the game system, if Zargon runs out of monsters, you substitute a monster of the same color. So, oh, I ran out of orcs. Well, I've still got goblins. They're green. I've still got Fimmers. They're green. You know, you run out of undead. Of skeletons, we'll use a mummy, use a zombie. You run out of gray, use gray. Now, in the Elf and Barbarian quest pack, there's a lot of blue monsters, and they run the gamut from, yeah, the weak to the strong. In those quest packs, they say substitute a monster of similar strength. That's what you're supposed to do. So it's not like they get out of fighting just because you used them all up. Like, well, we trapped the skeletons in this room. Now we won't have to fight any more skeletons ever again. No, doesn't work that way. Let's see. And this is full of spoilers. Mr. Scott88, welcome. Okay, if you don't like spoilers, don't look at the screen, because I'm spoiling the heck out of the ElfQuest pack. But I'm also looking at the draft notes from 1992 that Luca Pasci is so kind to release. And these will soon be available to the world to see. Or at least to many more people than just you guys and me. But yeah, welcome to HeroQuest fans. Elverg says, certainly, but you have to design to make sure you're not over-designing. Yes, Fimmer was the most limited available figure. Yeah, there's only 3 of them. And if you owned Keller's Keep, you had 6 total. But unless it's in, I mean, if it's in another quest pack, you can't assume that they own both of them. Elverg says, draft note changes like these is where the editor finds these issues and makes those changes. Where's the chart? Discord? So if you are on Twitch, you can see this image that I'm looking at. Oh yeah, Discord. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, that's Discord, but I mean, I'm actually talking in Twitch right now. But I guess if you're viewing the live stream, and yeah, just however you can view us. Yeah, help me out, guys. I thank you. Yeah. So, but anyway, my point is this is called the revised draft. The revised first draft of Quest 8 Mage of the Mirror is different than the 92 version. So for all we know, the new version might be more like the old one, or it might be even more different. But the fact that they can refer back to this and make changes is, I think, a good thing. And I think maybe Amalgamash would see this and be like, oh, this is closer to the original, if they go that way. But I don't know if they will. I don't know for sure. Yeah, so the starting room, there's an orc in the revised version. An orc and a Fimmer instead of a ogre, as in the final version. So most of the time, they took away the ogres and they replaced them with other monsters. But occasionally, it works in reverse. Alright, so more spoilers. So let's look at Quest 9. So yeah, these big pink highlighter marks show where stuff was changed. So this was the 2-part quest. Again, I'm spoiling the heck out of this stuff. There was an interesting part of this quest. Oh man. Check this out. Okay, in the original version, the ogres were 10 body points. In this room, check this out. There's not one, as in the final version. There's 3 ogres. That is a fight. I mean, you thought the Barbarian Quest pack was hard. That is tough. Yeah. So 30 body points of monsters right there. Plus you got the 2 giant wolves. Plus you got 2 elven archers. Plus you've got the final boss. Let's see what other things are different. Okay, that's the same. Corridor fights look the same. Yeah, I think just the pink stuff was changed. Okay, in the corridor and in the north, there were 3 ogres. You took away 2 of them. There was an extra door that allowed you to go from the spiral staircase right into the undead room. That's kind of a weird thing. Like, the undead, like, she has a spell that can resurrect the undead after they've been destroyed. But it's not in the room she starts in. So if you kill her in the room she starts in, then she never gets to use it. She has to run out of there, travel to the room with the undead. Then she can bring them back. Elven warrior. Zombie. Orc. Orc. Okay. Just scanning for any changes that jump out at me. Yeah, you pretty much just look for the pink, but they didn't catch every single one of them. But see, that's the thing. You're editing a document. Like, you could look at it 100 times, and I keep missing this one thing. So they swapped it with an ogre and a couple of giant wolves. You could easily have 2 Fimmers on the room, and a hero, for whatever dumb reason, opens the next door, and now you need 4 Fimmers on the board. True. Right. That's why 2 rooms next to each other with 2 Fimmer each was obviously changed for this reason. Yeah, I mean, you guys aren't wrong. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying it was better before. I'm just saying it was different before and isn't that interesting. And if they wanted to change it, they've got options here because it's been changed before in the drafting process. I didn't see as much of that with the Barbarian Quest pack. Like, most of the quests I was looking at, like, these drawings, and it's the same. Like, I'll be hard pressed to find any changes at all. And maybe that's just because they didn't save those copies, and maybe Avalon Hill has them now. Maybe they have them. But as we know, they didn't change anything with the quest layouts. But these are definitely changed. Okay, so last spoilerific spoiler. Quest 10. Let's see what 10 looks like in the draft version. And these are the revised draft maps. So it's still not the final version. Okay, so we got Chaos Warriors. This one's looking pretty similar so far. Fimmer, Orc. I'm really not seeing any changes for this one. Okay, so this is just a complete spoiler of the final version because it looks like everything's the same. So Quest 10 is like the rare exception to all this that survived intact. Elf Quest Pack 1. Oh, we're going back to the beginning. Okay, let's just take a quick look at these. More spoilers are going, guys. Okay. This might be closer to the final version. Oh, this is missing the Wandering Monster Trap. What else? Yeah, the two Wandering Monster Traps aren't there in this earlier version. Strapped version. Quest 2. It's like spot the difference. Yeah, in Phoenix's version, he put the door in the wrong spot, but it's easy to tell where it was supposed to be. I mean, he did a lot of great work, but yeah, just a couple typos. And we cover that on the Yield In forums. Like, there's a whole thread about the Phoenix fixes, and that's all it is just, yeah, if you're looking at his, like, if you printed all his stuff out and we're using it, it's like, there's a couple things you should know. Like, a couple things were changed or missing. But that's a fan recreation. Because rather than doing it in booklet form, he was doing it like a single sheets. This looks the same to me. I'm not seeing changes. So this one, I guess they made sure that there were... Oh, nope, there is a change. Okay, so instead of the Fimmer in the throne room with the fireplace, it's an ogre. So you do face an ogre in Quest 3, the earlier draft version. Alright, let me check the chat here. Let's see. Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, is if you don't have the new miniatures, let's say you were trying to play these quests with the game system, you don't have an ogre. Well, guess what? You can substitute like other characters. You could have a Fimmer and a Chaos Warrior. That's 5 body points. Or you could have 3 Chaos Warriors and a Goblin. You know, something like that. You could create some equivalents. Is there a PDF of fixes for Phoenix files by anyone? Yeah, there is. Let me give you the exact link that I'm talking about. Oops. It's actually one of mine, not to brag or anything. Let's see. Fixing the Phoenix quests. And again, spoilers. So if you're not Zargon, you probably don't want to look at these. But, also, I compare some of the variants. So, Lair of the Orc Warlord in the European version is different than the North American version of the same quest. So the North American version actually introduces a glitch that's repeated in the remake. So there's an empty or an unmarked treasure chest with a pit next to it in the final version. Well, originally it was supposed to be a furniture trap that does 1 body point of damage, and it contains 100 gold coins. And there's no pit at all, because there's no reason to walk up to a chest. Okay, but subbing is to err on player GM issues. Design should catch these issues before release. No, I get it. Yeah. I'm just saying they could go back to the drafts if they want inspiration. And someone like Amalgamash, who is much more of a purist by his own expression, closer to being a purist, he could at least say they respected the original designer's intent by going with a version of what they were using. Like, oh, this was a second draft or a third draft or a preliminary draft. And so it's not like they're just making it up. Because there's nothing wrong with Avalon Hill making changes to HeroQuest, because that's their task, that's their job. They're legally and morally allowed to do that. It's just that if you, as a player, are more inclined to say, I want to play what they played in 92, well, if we make a change, but the change is based on one of the drafts, yeah, you never saw it, but you could still say, hey, it's connected with the original design team. I'm just saying, like, it's a compromise. I'm not saying they will do that, or they have done that, but I mean, when I play the Frozen Horror, I use a lot of the draft rules, because I think in some cases they're better than the final version. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it's like, oh, at one time they thought this was a better idea, and I agree with them. Sometimes the editor is wrong, like I think. Sometimes they're right. Hey, welcome, Tech Spectre. Yeah. Elberg says, for sure, I just don't consider draft layouts and rules as intent. It's like writing a book, you make revisions to drafts. Well, Elberg, I agree with you. So let's say that you find a draft of Star Wars where Luke's father and Darth Vader are explicitly separate characters. Like, they're not the same person. But you could say, well, that doesn't matter because George Lucas made Empire Strikes Back, and he approved the change to say Darth Vader is Luke's father and always was. But if you go back in the drafts, that wasn't always true. And Leia wasn't always Luke's sister either. So you could say, well, it's a fantasy story, it's fiction, who cares, right? But guess what? He even approved publishing of those old scripts, and they made a comic book out of it. So if you're reading that comic book and that one, it's canon that they're different people, that Anakin is a totally different character than who he is in the movies. But I don't know, it's kind of like you could say, well, I'm still being true to the story, just a different version of the story. I don't know, it doesn't matter to me. It's just more like, hey, if I'm looking for ideas, I can always go back to someone's old draft. I mean, yeah, it's a draft for a reason. Either they didn't think it was good enough, or the editor said, nope, that's not good enough, you need to change it. So yeah, people that fire the editors do so at their own peril. But sometimes editors make mistakes, or maybe they don't pick the best one, it doesn't age very well. Most of the time, though, it's like you work within limitations. They do find corrections that you would have missed, because you work on the same thing over and over again. You're so used to it, you need a fresh pair of eyes to say, wait a minute. And sometimes the editor, it's clear, he doesn't understand. He's like, well, ogres, where are these ogres coming from? Let's change it all. And they're like, oh, here's the ogres, and they change it back. Some of it. Okay, so we are looking at draft versions of the old quests, and I'm speculating, pure speculation, that maybe they've changed some of these elf quest packs, and why, or quests in the new version, and why would they? So far, I haven't seen them add any new elf warriors, elf archers. I was kind of wondering, because there is a note that indicates that there's supposed to be a room full of 5 archers. Now they only have to give you 4, but I guess you kill them all except for 2, and then all of a sudden they come to your side. So it was like those 2 were like, oh, they were just forcing us to fight. We were actually on your side the whole time. And so now they fight for you, and that's awesome. So you do have elf mercenaries in a way. Spoilers. But they thought that was too confusing, so they didn't want to include, I guess, that many archers. So they just said, okay, there's a bunch of Fimmers, and then a couple archers that are obviously the guys you need to save. It's a different story then. I get your point, though. There's validity in using it for reference, though. Yeah, there's validity in using it for reference. Just like in my opinion, so like everybody wonders about the crossbow in HeroQuest. Can the crossbow hit all 8 squares around your character? Except for, or no, what am I saying? Normally the crossbow hits at range, but you need at least one square between you and the target for it to hit. You can't hit adjacent squares. But a lot of people pointed out, well, it doesn't explicitly say that those 4 diagonals are the same as adjacent. And then the longsword hits a diagonal square. So, but then I was saying, well, but then why would you ever buy the longsword if you already have a broadsword and you buy a crossbow? It's the same thing. You have the same exact ability. Actually, the crossbow is like better than the longsword in some ways. So what I did, yeah, people, we disagree. That's okay. The Japanese version, and again, I'm relying on translation, sounds like all 8 surrounding squares around you, around your character, cannot be hit by the crossbow. It's only another row out and on that can be hit. So I thought to myself, well, that version of the game comports to what I think how it should function. So I'm going to go with that. So I'm like, well, at least there's one official version of HeroQuest that agrees with me. But you could also say, well, the Japanese HeroQuest also says that you're supposed to walk up to chests to open them. And it's like, all right, well, I don't obey that rule. So I'm still picking. I'm still making an arbitrary decision how I want it to work. Just like I don't shuffle the treasure card every single time someone searches, even though technically you're supposed to do that in the North American rules. How does the app handle the crossbow? It doesn't. When you attack a monster, all you got to do is just roll your dice, like your physical dice, and you just tell it, here's how much damage I did to the monster. And then you click the kill button if you want to remove the monster from the board. So you can do whatever you want. You could say the crossbow can hit people that are on the other side of the board behind walls if you wanted. It can shoot through walls. Now, a lot of the app is in the honor system. Yeah, I know. It doesn't answer the question. And the thing is, like, some of the stuff in the app isn't quite correct. So, like, if you move into a stone wall with pass through rock, you instantly die. Unless you hold your finger on the cursor, like you're still dragging it, like through the wall, then you're okay. But if you accidentally let your finger go, even if you've got movement left, you just instantly die. Yeah, it's weird. Now you can pass into solid rock and you're fine. They did fix that. So that's good. But there's still some weird stuff in there. Anyway, so we're looking at the ElfQuest, and there were a lot more ogres originally. They took ogres out and they replaced them with other monsters. So actually they've been nerfing the ogre situation from the beginning with these drafts. Now the public didn't see these, but they soon will again. All right. Yeah, we're getting kind of bogged down but I mean, it's commentary. It's fun. It's fun speculating about this sort of thing because, you know, who knows what it's like to be part of a company making a board game? Not me. I just go by what I read, what people tell me. The app doesn't really adhere to the rules. It's there basically to control the monsters and reveal the map for you. Yeah. And I would say control the monsters in a very rudimentary way. I mean, they just kind of barrel towards you and they attack, and they don't use tactics or strategies very well. Tactics or strategies, yeah. HeroQuest Digital, like Gloomhaven, would be a nice step. Yeah, but the app, they still want you to buy the physical board game. It is all about the games. Okay, so back to the spoilers. So that was Quest 4, the first group quest. Let me compare. So I'm just comparing the 92 version to this draft, this revised draft. So it looks like, I think this is the one I was looking at before. Looks like things are pretty much the same. Yeah, so that one is really not. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. Yeah, there was no, that was there before. Okay. Okay, so that one is the same. Quest 5. Again, spoilerific spoilers. Things are looking the same. I wonder if this is just a black and white version of what I already looked at. I don't think it is. Oh, yeah, there's definitely a change here. So in room D, the original version, there was, you've got your 2 orcs and you've got 2 ogres and 2 giant wolves. So they took out one of the ogres and one of the giant wolves. So that was a tough one right there. They made that one a lot easier. I mean, it's still tough, but it's a lot easier. What else? Such as table. Okay. Just looking for any differences at all. Okay. Yeah, the southern room, originally there were 2 ogres along with all the rest of the monsters, but yeah, they took away one of the ogres. Okay, that's a simple change, but yeah. And they were 10 body points back then too. Let's see, what else is here? And guys, I'm just showing you like a fraction of the documents that Luca Pasci has. I mean, he's releasing these on his own kind of initiative, but so I'm not spoiling everything. I'm just showing you like these specific things because I think it's really cool. And I did ask him ahead of time. Okay, so in next to the letters have changed. They've rearranged all the letters. So the letters I'm saying will have no meaning to you. So this room with the fireplace originally had 2 ogres. Now there's only 1 in the final version. There's so much. Wandering monsters spawning in a pit trap. Yeah, it's possible. Exactly right. Yeah, and you can fall in a pit trap and then get a hazard that's another pit and fall in. Of course, it's just a shallow hole that fills in after you climb out. Is there any info in the original drafts about different body points that made design changes to why they removed ogres from areas? I'm not seeing it. I'm all the note. I mean, I can look again, but I think it only says 10. I mean, unless. See, the thing is, Luca Pasci, he doesn't have every single document. There's some missing. There's a few missing. Avalon Hill has all the documents that exist. So if they exist, they've got a copy. So it's possible we're missing something. Like assuming somebody didn't like accidentally drop it in the shredder, you know, set it on fire or something back in the day. But they've got copies of everything. So they may have stuff that we don't know about. But as far as I can tell, I mean, wouldn't that be cool? They like pull up and say, actually, it was 5 originally. Well, they based it on Against the Ogre Horde. Against the Ogre Horde, the ogres went from 1 to 4 body points. They weren't 5. So these are even stronger than those. I've seen the ElfQuest pack and Barbarian Quest pack stuff from Luca. Okay, so Tech Spectre, you know what's up. I hadn't seen a lot of this stuff, and he is releasing it to a larger audience. So, yeah. So you know what's up. Okay, so, well, but, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't have more to spoil you with if you've already seen it, but play along. Okay. Elviler, I was more talking about the app Zargon putting a monster in a pit trap beside you when the square in front of you was available. Yeah, in our game. Yeah, exactly right. So there the monster blunders directly into a pit, understanding that the monster has a disadvantage when he's in the pit. He attacks and defends with 1 less. Why would the monster do that? Like after 1 attack, you think the monster would move away to another free square to attack you, but instead they just dumbly like stand there like they're really dumb. And there was some like we were blocking I want to say we were also blocking a door at one point, and there were monsters in a room, and they were just going up to the doorway and attacking us one at a time. But the other end of the room the monsters were in had an open door, and there were other heroes like out in the hall. So the monsters could have like taken the other doorway to go around and attack us from the side, or attack those other heroes. But instead they just kept running up to the door. So like it's like, come on. Maybe in universe those monsters are that dumb, but in the game Zargon can see all the monsters on the board. He can see all the heroes. He knows where to send them tactically. So you could rationalize, oh, the evil wizard's like, hey, dummy, go around. Yeah, it just requires more programming. And yes, and Carmine did say that they are trying to implement difficulty levels, or they're aware of the issue. They talk about it a lot. They almost have. I studied the Barbarian Questback docs pretty thoroughly, and there are definitely gaps in the notes. Yeah. I was most interested in those because the Frozen Horror was about to come out, and I was like, and I wanted to play it live, and I wanted to implement like any improvements from the drafts. Because when I heard about that thing with the Yeti hug, I was like, there may be other treasure for me to find. So yeah, I'm not the first one to look at this stuff, obviously, but I just think it's fascinating. Plus, I just like this cutting room floor stuff from games, even if it like would break the game or it isn't as cool as the final thing. I still like to see it. I'm still interested to see how it evolved, developed, and sometimes there's inspiration there. Like, oh, you take that unused thing and use it for something, like that potion that lets you pick up a monster and throw them across the room. Like, that's cool. Or the one that lets you melt holes in the wall or whatever. That's kind of interesting, kind of neat. It inspires you. So other than that room where they took one of the, oh yeah, so there was two different examples of rooms where they removed one of the ogres. I'm just getting off track there. Oh, there's three. Okay, so there's three rooms in this quest where there were originally two ogres. They took one of them away in the final version. Sorry about that. Okay. Quest 6. So, is this just the same one again? Okay, so this has the two Fimmers. I'm not sure what's difference between this one and the one that was earlier. Of course, he scanned these. Let's go back to ElfQuest back 6. Is it the same? See, that has the Fimmers. I want to see the one with the 5 archers. Where's that one? Because, yeah, they're color-coded. Oh, I think I get it. So this is... Well, we don't see the highlighter. All right, fine. I'll just continue on. Quest 7. It's kind of hard to guess. I don't know. Is anybody getting tired of this? Because I'm getting towards the end. I mean, we've gone an hour over. I'm just so excited. There's so much to think about. I mean, all those people at Gen Con are probably partying it up now, or eating dinner or something. Okay, this looks pretty similar to the final version. I mean, everything's in the right spot and everything. But yeah, this looks like it was photocopied because the color is all gone. Yeah, it definitely is photocopied. Alright, Quest 8. So this is that other one that had a lot of changes. Once again, spoilers here on HeroQuest fans. Yeah, and the Dwarf Quest Pack and the Wizard Quest Pack are out there, but hey, maybe somebody else will get to read those. I'm a little jealous, but I'm not going to be jealous because it's all there. I'm enjoying everything. Are the two the same thing? One is black and white, original, and the colored one's the editor notes. What I should do is just open both copies. 2 copies of the same thing, and we'll just check it out here. So, let me just get my browser open here. Okay, so we're trying to look at the revised. Yeah. Oh, we can open 2 copies. Yeah, okay. All right, we'll just use Quest 6 as an example. We've got to rotate. 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 Yeah, because one is like the editor going through with his pen, changing stuff. Okay, let's look at Quest 8. I hope you're seeing that. Okay. Spoilers once again. Boom, boom. Are you seeing any differences? It's just, you see the marker showing that those two should be removed. Highlighter. Yeah. Yeah, I think they are the same. So I guess we're just kind of spinning our wheels here. I mean, for anybody that joined late, talking about this stuff. So there's Quest 9. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of that. Let me just, again, I'm not going to show you everything. Maps first draft. Whoa. Okay, let's look at this one. Like I said, there's many more notes that I'm not going to be showing you. That'll be up to Luca Pasci. I like the shading with the pencil on this. So this is an even older. Stabat all ogres? STBT? State? I'm not sure what that means. No lead through. So this is much more rough. I'm enjoying everything. Are the two the same? Oh, we already answered that. Yeah, it looks like black and white is photocopy of original without notes, and the color is the original with notes. Yeah, color copiers were a big deal. I can't remember when those started becoming mainstream, but yeah, they did a lot of work with photocopiers. I mean, even Stephen Baker talks about that. It's like, yeah, we did a lot of work with photocopiers, but I mean, he didn't have anything to do with this one. This was North America 91, 92, 93. Probably just slight differences between revisions. The black and white is probably there to review changes and meeting discussions. Yeah, it makes sense. And they even did stuff by mail. Like, I mean, email was pretty new back then, so I don't know, because sending documents would be kind of slow. They may have faxed the stuff to each other for all we know. Okay, what am I looking at here? What am I looking at here? All right, let me just get my Phoenix quest up again here and take a look. So first of all, what quest is this? Quest 1, oh obviously. So this is an even older draft. Spoilers, of course. I keep saying that like constantly because Elvira is going to make a really cool spoiler graphic for us. Right? I mean, if you want to. If you've got time. I mean, I appreciate all you've done for us. The graphics are really fun. So what does this say? This says... Some of these are hard to... Oh, they actually wrote out Goblin and they wrote out Mummy. It's like historical documents. Fireplace, Goblin, Tomb, Zombie. Makes no sense. Okay, so there was an extra door going north. I mean, you can see it's crossed out. Yeah, this is pretty rough. Okay, quest 2. More spoilers. Okay, so there was no skeleton guarding the treasure chest. Oh, okay, I know who, because this person used squiggly lines as secret doors. Skeleton. Okay, so there were 2 skeletons in the final version. Oh, there was an ogre in the center room in the original, replaced by a Fimmer. Okay, so there's that change. Yeah, there's an ogre in Quest 2. I think we already covered that. This is just a different version of it. Yeah, and an ogre in the weapons rack room. And the editor's confused. Where is this from? Where's the ogre? Because he didn't have the ogres yet, I guess. Or goblin. Yeah, the monsters are like in different positions in the same room, the same distribution, and they're just like standing in different spots. This is fascinating. I have not seen these before. I'm sorry I'm going kind of slow through these. I haven't seen these before. See, normally I would just like pour over these myself. I wouldn't do it live on a stream, but I don't know. This is the time I had to do it, so I'm having fun. I hope you are too. You can always watch this on like quadruple speed. Or just look at the documents yourself when they're publicly available. Oh, there's a... Interesting. Okay. So the trap door was in a different spot. The trap door leads to a different area. And there was a giant wolf next to the Fimmer, so that was a harder room. And there was no zombie by the sorcerer's table. Yeah, there was a trap door that led in from the bookcase room to the center room. And that was removed. Oh, interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like that one, but maybe that screws up the whole idea of the maze. All right, checking the chat. One square cabinet. The notes Amalgamash showed on YouTube talked about how they weren't sharing information with each quest designer, and how one ogre was in the elf quest pack and the other three were in the dwarf. Yeah, and when he said that, I was like, oh, because I didn't get that the first time. I didn't understand. Yeah, Against the Ogre Horde had the 4 different ones, the 4 different designs, and then Mage of the Mirror just ended up having 1. But yeah, the dwarf quest pack would have had the other 3. So all of those European unique HeroQuest sculpts would have found their way into North American versions eventually. So I can see why there are notes saying, where did this come from? As a review designer may not have known. Yeah, they say that. They say, hey, does so-and-so know about this? I don't think they know about it. Why don't you share the notes with them? Like, oh, okay. He's got 1 sculpt for the ogre. Well, yeah. No female ogres yet. But you never know. Never say never. Ogre Mercenary. Hero pack. Or monster pack. I'm waiting for the monster packs. That'd be a perfect opportunity to release those mythic tier female zombies, female mummies, and so on and so forth. I'd be up for it. I think some of those designs were really cool looking. I mean, you didn't need them to play the game. You already had plenty of monsters from Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord, but there were some cool designs, you know. And who's to say, you know? It's like, oh, only guys can be zombies. Well, it could be some female zombies. It'd be scary. Add some variety. Let's see. Group Quest 4. Just comparing this to the final version. Spoilerific spoilers. This one is virtually unchanged. Oh, I spoke too soon. Okay, the center room, originally there were 2 giant wolves, and they got rid of one of them. And that ogre in the hallway was changed. So originally it was an ogre. The editor changed it to a femur. The final version turned it back to an ogre. So there's still 1 ogre in the quest. Oh, but this one was crossed out. Check this out. There were 2 ogres. So they got rid of both of them, replaced them with a femur, and then replaced it with 1 ogre. So it went through several changes. 2 ogres in a hallway. That's a tough battle. 10 body points each, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Door. Oh, the door was right by the throne, like a secret door, maybe? Like one of those, like, throne slides to the side to open. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, and there was 2 femurs behind that wall instead of 2 ogres. That's a big change. That's actually much more fair, I think. Of course, those are only 2 body point monsters instead of 5. And in the adjoining room, this is a big spoiler. Okay, so originally there was 3 Chaos Warriors and 2 femurs. They got rid of one of the femurs. Okay. Let's see. Can't even read that, but it says, oh yeah, it's Chaos Warrior. Okay. Oh, that's the same. Okay, so each quest has a few changes. Monster placement definitely changed. Variety is huge for playing campaign style games. Yeah, the thing is, like, it's so much easier to use your imagination. But like, imagine if you're painting every figure. You're like, oh, well, this particular character has blonde hair. This one has black hair. This one has green eyes. This one has blue eyes. You know, this one has light skin. This one has dark skin. This one, you know, but you get like a completely different design. Like, oh, this zombie has a sword and a shield. This other zombie has like a machete. You know, or this orc has a mace. This one has an axe. It's immediately recognizable as, oh, it's slightly different. But in your head, you could imagine whatever you want. Because in the game system, they did that. Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord. They would have like, oh yeah, these orcs have crossbows. Well, there's no crossbow miniature. I mean, it'd be cool if there was, but you just say, yeah, he's got his sword, but he's also got a crossbow. that he pulls out and fires at you or whatever. I'm subbing different monsters in Keller's Keep just to get away from the same monsters and making Return of the Witch Lord mostly UD. Oh, undead. Undead goblins and orcs. Oh, yeah, you could. You could do that. I guess you couldn't do it in reverse, but yeah, so you've got a skeleton and a zombie, and then you've got an orc and a fimmer, but the orc and the fimmer could be like skeletal orcs and skeletal fimmers. You give them different stats. You could do... There's so many things you could do. If stylistically you think it should match, then sure, why not? Do it that way. That's an easy fix. All right, got to save some of my voice for tomorrow because we're going to play Hero Quest tomorrow. So far, nothing's come up. So, I mean, sometimes family stuff gets in the way, and you know, that's important. But I try to let you guys know. Oh, there was an error. Way too many Chaos Warriors. Come on, you can never have enough. Too many. But okay, there's an error in... I don't think there's an error in the final version, but there's an error in Phoenix's version because he forgot to color in that solid rock in that corridor. So in the draft... Okay, man, there's so many changes. Let me just look closely here. Elven Warrior, bookcase, chest, bookcase. Fimmer. Oh, okay. So in the table room, in the draft version with the fireplace, there were 2 ogres originally. They were crossed out and replaced by 2 fimmers. In this version, they were crossed out completely, so the editor was saying no monsters in that room. In the final version, there's 1 ogre. So it went through a lot of changes. They couldn't make up their minds what they wanted in that room. Okay, there was originally a giant wolf next to the 2 pits, and he was removed completely in the final version. The weapons rack room originally had... Oh, here we go. It had 3 wolves. Oh, I see now why there's red boxes around the word wolf. Because this person who made these maps was thinking of the wolves as single square monsters. They didn't realize they were 2 squares. So whenever they draw the red box around the word wolf, sorry it took me so long to figure that out, they're indicating, hey, it's a 2 square monster. So originally, that room had 3 giant wolves. The editor removed 1 of them. And in the final version, there's only 1 wolf in the room. And the one in the hallway is gone. Interesting. Definitely an error. A wizard could pass through rock, and the GM would think the area is playable. Well, he could search it for treasure, but then he'd be trapped forever. But not dead. We go ahead and continue Frozen Horror or more game system in the app tomorrow. Well, I'm inclined to be influenced by what people want to do. Like, I kind of want to go back into the Frozen Horror. I mean, part of me wants to get into the ElfQuest pack, but why not finish what we started? We're in Quest 5. And we could play it in the app, but, I mean, as fun as it is, like, I'd rather just set up my board. Like, the reason I jumped into the app originally is I didn't have time to set everything up. It was more convenient to try the app, and after a while, we had fun. Dead wizard, either way. Well, yeah, maybe when he searched for treasure, I'd be like, oh, look, you found a pass-through rock scroll. How cool. You know, or maybe he searches for secret doors, and I would just put one there. Seems kind of a cheap, because it's a map error that caused him to die. It seems kind of a cheap win for Zargon. Yeah, I don't know. Would you guys be upset if we didn't play in the app? I think we've put it through its paces. The monsters, I mean, it's way easier. It's a hallway. How did they search for treasure? Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I guess I was treating it like a room, wasn't I? Okay, so the only way would be search for secret doors, and then... Oh, where would you put the secret door? The secret door would have to be in the stone. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, I would just let them search it for treasure, like as if it were a room. You're right. But no, I had to think about that for a second. It's like, oh, good point. Because for a while I was playing with the house rule that you could search corridors for treasure, because that's the very first version of HeroQuest from '89 let you do that. None of the other versions allow you. They explicitly say you cannot search passages or corridors for treasure. I mean, you'd always get a card. That's how it would work. Okay, let's continue on. We're gonna get through these. Let's see, long pit. Okay. Oh, the Wandering Monster trap was added to the draft. Oh, yeah, this is different. So the final version, the Wandering Monster trap that's around the central room was not there. Like, they removed it in the final version. And it's hard for me to tell if those are 3 goblins, because it's like, or does that say Fimmer? No, goblin, yeah, because there's only three Fimmers. So that's the same. They crossed out Chaos Warlock and put Alchemist, but I mean, it's the same. I mean, the Chaos Warlock figure is representing it, so that's not a big deal. We already talked about the... Okay, so that room... The southernmost room... I feel like I already talked about this. So originally there were 2 wolves, 2 ogres, and they replaced the 2 ogres with Fimmers, and then in the final version they just had 1 ogre instead of the 2 Fimmers, and instead of the 2 wolves it's 1 wolf. So that's very similar to another draft version we looked at, actually. Okay, in this northernmost room, in the draft version, there was, let's see, two wolves, an ogre, an orc, and I can't even tell what that is. It's just a scribble. It might be another orc. And then they change it to 2 orcs. I can't even see what that is. It's crossed out. It's really hard to read. But yeah, they crossed out the wolf and put orc. Crossed out ogre, put Fimmer. Crossed out wolf and just left it crossed out. They crossed out something that I can't read and they put Fimmer. They got rid of the secret door and kept the other secret door. There were originally 2 secret doors. Oh, so rooms C and D connected originally with secret doors. They crossed out orc and put wolf. They crossed out something else and put wolf. They added the word orc in there. But in the final analysis, what they ended up with in the final version was an orc, 2 orcs, an ogre, and a giant wolf. So yeah, they went through a lot of changes. But yeah, it's very faint. It's like stuff has been erased and crossed out and written over. Oh, this corner room, I forgot to check that. Elven Warrior. Okay, so that had 2 wolves and 2 Elven Warriors. They got rid of one of the wolves in the final version. That was Quest 5. That took a while. You guys haven't gone to sleep yet. Wolf removed, but I don't understand what they'd be using at note A. Did you ever notice the original UK version of the game seemed like they had considered making it a free-for-all adventure so heroes could attack each other? Yeah. Yeah, there was rules for deathmatching. Like it was like the training was you fought each other, you fought goblins together. It's just like they don't tell. It's like friendly fire and like all those like fighting arcade fighting games. It's like you're supposed to work together, but you can hit each other by accident. So I guess if the players just decide to kill each other and steal each other's treasure, well, they're going to lose because they're not working together. Whereas in the North American version, they say, nope, you can't do that. I mean, I think there may be 1 or 2 spells here or there that can do friendly fire, but it's extremely rare. Let's see. If we're playing Frozen Horror, we need Strange Bus. We're in a bit of a bind and need the muscle. Yeah. Well, the thing is, if he can't make it, though, we can always have someone else take over the barbarian. I mean, I love to have him in the game, but if he's busy, somebody else can take over. Okay, so what is Note A? Note A... are we still on the right one? Elberg, you're asking about Note A. Wolf remove, but I don't understand what they'd be using at Note A. Oh, you're talking about the previous quest. Sorry. Note A. Next to the pits. That's just the start of the adventure. I'm not sure what it is because it's not on here. It doesn't tell me. I'd have to refer to another document, which I wasn't going to show you, so sorry. But there's like a big pit A originally. So, oh, I know what it was. Okay, so originally Note A, it was like the first time you see one of these big pits, and they were going to explain it in the notes. But the editor is like, you don't have to do that, because the beginning of the book explains what all the special tiles are for, so the long pit is already explained. You don't have to waste space explaining it. But then they put an A over here. But why did they do that? I'm not sure. Because the entrance and exit doors should already be explained. But maybe that A is to talk about the Chaos Warriors? Because in the final version, there's no letter there. It doesn't explain what that is. A is talking about the Prospector. Spoilers. Okay. Yeah, in the south, there was 2 wolves. In the final version, only 1. Okay. Previous quest. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Back to it. I'm gonna need to get some dinner soon here. Sorry, folks. I just get sucked into this. It's so cool. How nerdy is this? Looking at drafts of a board game. But we like to design quests, right? So this gives us inspiration. It's cool stuff. And you feel like you're getting a glimpse into the designer's mind. Like they were just going along at lightning speed trying to get this done, released to the public. Wait a minute, this is quest 6. Wow. Okay, there's definitely some changes here. So this hallway had 3 Femmers guarding room D. Not in the final version. There was also inside the room, there was... Oh, okay. Oh no, this is not it. I was getting ahead of myself there. There's an arrow. Check this out. Elven Archer, 2 Elven Archers, and there's an arrow pointing to here. So originally these Elven Archers were in the hallway, but the arrow is saying room D up here. There were 3 ogres and 2 wolves. All 3 of the ogres are crossed out. 2 Femmers were added. And in the final version, there's 2 Femmers, a giant wolf, and 2 Elven Archers. But they were going to say 2 wolves, 2 Femmers, 2 Elven Archers. Okay. Elven Warrior. Oh, and in the next room, there's 2 Elven Warriors in the original version, or the earlier draft. In the final version, there's 1 Elven Warrior, a Chaos Warrior, and a Gargoyle. Okay. And so moving to the right here, I'm not sure what Tor... Oh, that's the bad guy, Chaos Warlock. It's not really a change there. 3, 4 skeletons. Okay, 2 zombies. Skeleton, goblin, Femmer. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goblins. Yep. 2 Femmers. Oh, 3 Femmers? Okay, so this room over here to the east had 3 Femmers. They removed 1 of the Femmers in the final version. Okay. Okay, in the center room, all they did was move 1 of the giant wolves closer to the door instead of having them all lined up perfectly. Just move the positions, relative positions. 3, 4, 5. 5. Yeah, so in the table room, they rearranged the monsters, but the same distributions of monsters. See, sometimes I'll do that in Quest, just have them appear in slightly different spots. Especially if I suspect somebody has played the quest before or remembers it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 4 goblins there. 2 mummies. 3 zombies. Yeah, the zombies are in different positions, but they're in the same number. Oh, and what's that crossed out? There were 2 Fimmers in the Southern Passage in the draft version. I cannot read what that is. And this is the high-res scan, so I can't tell what was crossed out. Something was crossed out, and they added 2 Fimmers, and in the final version, they removed it completely. There's no Fimmers. All right, back to the chat. Let's see. This is where they become mercs temporarily. Yeah. So some of the elves do fight by your side. Oh, cool. Hey, Strange Bus. Yeah, so if you want to join us tomorrow, you'd be most welcome. I mean, do what you got to do, man, but if you'll be around, even for part of it, we'd love to have you. And you don't have to be the barbarian. You can be whoever you want, but we'll divide it up based on who shows up, like always. I'd like to use the regular board. I mean, we can still have the pirate because I've got a figure. But I guess we were using that set of heroes for the benefit of Sir Death because he hasn't played all the game system quests, and that's why we were just going through those. And we just happened to have like, oh, using the bard instead of the elf, and I insisted on calling him the pirate because I think he's cooler as an orc pirate. Looks like almost every room got an overhaul of this design. Almost every room, yeah. So you can't say that they didn't make changes, but we still felt like they didn't adequately play test, and maybe they couldn't. Maybe they did their best. Time crunch, staffing, not enough people, not enough time. Stuff was missed. Maybe it wasn't their fault. I mean, they probably did as best they could. So, but hey, you know, that's what happens sometimes with projects. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. And it's just cool that HeroQuest is back now, so they could give it the extra time. And I guess that's part of me is thinking it's like it's a good thing because now finally they have enough time to make it as good as it can be. But I get Amalgamash's point because it's not the same designers. It's somebody else who's inherited the project, who is finishing it, who's polishing it up. And yeah, the designer doesn't have the final say. They don't have full creative control forever. Somebody else owns it now. And that's just how it is. Okay, so Quest 7. Let's go through this. And once we're done with this, I think I'm tired. I'm going to have to call it. And tomorrow we'll just finish up. Because unless some bombshell has come through on the Discord, I'm not sure if it has. Any more announcements from Gen Con? I don't understand the reasoning of why there was secrecy among the designers themselves. It seems like a missed opportunity of collaboration, sharing ideas. Yeah, I agree with you. Because on the one hand, it's like maybe they're trying to, we want everybody to not be influenced by the other people and just come up with their own stuff. But at the same time, you're all making HeroQuest products. Like, why reinvent the wheel? Yeah, thanks, Inspector Retro. Have a good one. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. No more announcements that I've seen. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just take a quick look at the Discord. So yeah, again, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here because there's a lot of draft stuff. Like if Luca wants to give stuff to other people, like to share for their exclusive or their first look, tons of it to be had. And I don't begrudge him at all. I mean, I'm so honored that he'd let me show this stuff on my stream. Because it was a lot of work. I'm sure it took like a lot of hours to scan all that stuff. Learlek wants to be next. So yeah, talked to my buddy, flew into Indiana, so bringing a box of swag back isn't in the cards. Even if Incarme could make that happen. Now, if say a box of stuff could be shipped to me, I'd happily ship and distribute to whoever wanted stuff while supplies last. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, people are talking about bringing back swag from the... Okay. Yeah, I think people are definitely winding down for the evening. Okay, so let's go through the last of these quest drafts for tonight. And hey, the next stream is probably going to blow up even more than ours because they're going to have something really cool to show you. And I won't be a part of it, but that's okay. I'll just be thrilled to see it. I just care that people get to enjoy it and appreciate it. Okay, so Tech Spectre, Spectre Retro, same person. Got it. Well, glad to have you, man. Whatever your name is, it doesn't matter what your name is. Just kidding. Yeah. Whatever your handle may be, welcome. Okay. I really am like getting hot and tired and hungry, so let me get through this, guys. No, keep asking your questions. What am I saying? It's just that I gotta stay focused on this too. Okay. So looks like they added, this is quest 7, total spoilers. Sorcerer's Table was added to the stairs room. Man, that's cramped. Okay, the final version added an ogre.
Got him!
That was in stereo. That was awesome. Thanks. Hey, Jabroni. See, that's exactly the perfect use for the sound alerts. It's like the streamer is like, oh, guys, I'm drifting off to sleep. You're like, wake up! I subbed for a reason. Thanks, man. Just what I needed. Okay, so looking at the pictures again, revitalized by that D's nuts joke. Okay, zombie, 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 mummy, skeleton. That looks the same. Okay. Oh, there's 2 stairwells. I forgot about that. That's weird. Why did I never notice that? Oh, I never played this quest before. Spoilers to me. Yeah, everything's really light. It's really hard to read, even with this high-res scan. Okay, the final version added an ogre to the center room, which originally was not there. And there's a question mark because he can't read it. The editor can't see it. So this is a bad quality photocopy. It's like, why don't you try it again? Or, yeah, I don't know. Ran out of quarters, ran out of toner. Who knows? Wolf, wolf. Guessing that's a gargoyle. Yeah, this one's tough to read. Okay. I guess the fireplace was not there originally. It was just a square. I guess it's supposed to be a bookshelf. Oh yeah, this was the mirror. And that other one said get rid of this. But there's a mirror in the corner next to the throne. What else? I can't tell if that's supposed to be 3 Chaos Warriors, and it was just changed to 2. Oh yeah. So they removed 1 Chaos Warrior from that room, next to the spear room. Goblin, zombie, goblin, zombie. Oh wow, so there were 5 orcs in a row in that hallway, and in the final version there's only 3. But they did put these monsters... No, I guess those are the same, okay. Okay, so originally behind that wall, or in front of the wall, there were 2 goblins and an orc. They replaced one of the goblins, or they replaced the orc with another goblin, so there's 3 in the final version. 3 goblins. And that room, you can't, he just put a question mark and circled everything because he can't even tell what it's supposed to be. There was 5 things. in the room. 5 monsters, presumably. Can't even see what they are. In the final version, there was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 monsters. I think one of those in the draft was a goblin, but that's the only one I can make out. Okay. So that was 7. Now we're going to 8. The Gathering Storm. Or no, wait, this is 7. Oh, this is just a better quality version of the same one. Okay, I get it. Should have just looked ahead. This is a much better quality. But he still scanned it. He scanned everything. Okay, so that room with the... So, goblin, goblin. Okay, it's the same. Skeleton, skeleton. Wolf, wolf, wolf. Okay. So, the draft version, there were 3 wolves. Final version, 2 wolves. And there was also an extra skeleton in the original. So, a skeleton and a wolf were removed. The letters were all switched around. Okay, let's check the chat again. Mirror removed. Yep. Correct. Okay, quest 8. Again, these are spoilers for the ElfQuest pack, the draft notes, and then the 92 version. Again, we don't know if the 2023 version is going to be different than this. It might be just... I mean, we can probably assume just by default that it's going to be 100% the same as the 92 version. But the fact that they lowered the ogre body points to 5 and that they doubled the number of elf monsters makes me wonder. And the fact that at one time there were more elf archers than were in the box originally makes me wonder. And the fact that they own all the copies of all the materials from the drafts makes me wonder. They could have reached into these drafts to make changes. We don't know which ones. And maybe that rumor can be dispelled easily enough, quickly enough. And we'll just go home and be like, nah, it's the same. But the possibility exists that it could be different. And it could be based on something from the 90s rather than something modern. Completely modern. Okay, I feel like I looked at this one already. Oh no, it's just another version of it. Okay. Okay, Alchemist bench room. Yeah, they removed one of the giant wolves. They added a skeleton in the final version also. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay, they removed the Chaos Warrior from that room also. Am I looking at the same room? This is really different. Okay. So originally there were 2 zombies, 2 mummies, an ogre, a Chaos Warrior, and 4 skeletons. Final version there was 1 zombie, 1 mummy, the ogre, and then 4 skeletons. So they removed a mummy and a zombie. And a Chaos Warrior. Okay. And by the stairs, there were 3 wolves. They removed one of them in the final version. There was also a door that led out. It wasn't just one door, so they removed that western door. Oh, and the door leading out of the quest after those zombies and mummies. That was removed. And just use... Oh, because the stairs were added. Oh, wait. There were 4 wolves. I missed that. There were 4 wolves in that room where the stairs were added. Oh, because originally there were 3. They crossed one out, put stairs, and put another wolf to the side. Okay, so at any given time, it was just 3 wolves. Still, that's a lot. That's all the wolves in the box. That's a huge battle. Okay. So 2 wolves, they just changed the positions of the wolves because they're big. They take up 2 squares each. So that room to the north had 3 Chaos Warriors. They removed 1. To the right of it, they removed 1 of the giant wolves in the final version. The stairs were added in that corner. So yeah, furniture changed positions. 2 wolves, 2 skeletons, 2 zombies. Okay, crossed out the wall. So there was a stone wall there. And a door that was crossed out. Okay, there were 2 skeletons, 2 mummies. So they got rid of 1 of the mummies. 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe you're picking it up faster than I am, and so you're just like flying through this and be like, "Come on, man." Okay, so yeah, you can see the red pen. They added a door. They added 1 and crossed it out. There were 2 wolves. Whoa. Wow. Okay. So in this room there were 3 ogres and 2 wolves. They crossed out 1 of the wolves, and in the final version, there's just 1 ogre. And then it says Chaos Warlock, and it looks like they corrected that. So there was a boss. Change it to Chaos Warrior. Okay, so in the final version, 3 Chaos Warriors. Added a door. There were 2 wolves originally. The final version, they removed 1. They added a skeleton. I feel like I said that already, but I guess, yeah, you're just seeing the changes. Okay, I think we've gone over that one with a fine-tooth comb. Okay, 9. Alright, almost done with these Mage of the Mirror spoilers. Yeah, once again, that final room is crazy. 3 giant wolves. And 1 of them was removed for the final version. And then the room with the table, originally there was 2 orcs, 3 orcs and 2 ogres. They crossed out the 2 ogres and made them into Fimmers. In the final version, they retained the 2 ogres and they had 2 orcs. So they got rid of 1 of the orcs. Okay, so this bookcase room, there were 3 goblins and an orc. They changed 1 of the orcs into a goblin. So in the final version, there's 4 goblins. Wow, okay. And in the north region, there were 3 ogres. They crossed them out and put 3 Fimmers. The final version, they put just 1 ogre. Yeah. I mean, I'm just getting exhausted just looking at this. All the work they had to do. Okay, keeping it straight. It's much easier when you have the symbols, like visually, I think. Chaos Warrior, Chaos Warrior. Okay, so this room, or no, that's Elven Warrior. 2, 3. Elven Archer. Okay, so 2 Elven Archers and 2 Elven Warriors. In the final version, they added an ogre to that room. 3 skeletons, 2 zombies. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, that's quest 9. Quest 10. This one probably hasn't changed at all. Let's just see. Well, okay, the letters have changed. Oh, and it's super hard to read, so there's probably a better version. So let's save time and scroll down. Yep, there we go. It's a clearer photocopy. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so in the north, there were 4 Chaos Warriors. They removed 1. Final version only has 3. Warrior, Wolf, Chaos Warrior, Elven Warrior. Okay, but it's hard to tell if that's been erased or what, but in that room, guarding the spoilerific spoiler room A, they added an ogre in the final version. But it looks like there's something, it's just, I can't read it. It's been erased. Oh yeah, once again, they were forgetting that the wolves are 2 squares instead of just 1. So in that corridor, there's a wolf and an orc. In the final version, there's just a wolf taking up that whole square. Same for the bottom, a wolf and then an orc behind him. Final version, just a giant wolf. Ogre. Okay, so that tiny room in the draft version has 2 ogres and an orc. Final version has 2 orcs and an ogre. And 2 goblins were added to the adjoining room, which were never there before. And then skeleton, femur, orc. Okay, so they removed 1 orc from the table room. They erased that wall. Oh, that's an error in the draft because there's a stone wall and a stone wall, and there's no solid rock in between. That whole thing should be solid rock. Okay, so there's a clear mirror in this corner room. They got rid of that. They added a door in the final version. Chaos Warrior, Elven Warrior, Skeleton, Femur. This room should be colored in with shaded gray, solid rock. That's a mistake. Monsters are in different positions with same distributions. Yeah, that's right. Goblin, orc, gargoyle. Wait a minute. So this one has 2 goblins, 3 orcs, gargoyle. Okay, so in this room with the chest, they replace one of the orcs with a ogre. Unless that's an error by Phoenix. I don't think it is. See, again, I'm relying on his quality. Okay. All right, everybody. HeroQuest fans, thank you, everyone, for checking out this longer stream. Really appreciate everybody who was at Gen Con, who reported stuff, sent us pictures, videos, posted in the Discord, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere else, Twitter. I'm sure there'll be more stuff tomorrow because I think it goes quite a while. Let's see. Because Gen Con goes 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So for all we know, there may be other stuff going on, other stuff announced. But I mean, HeroScape, ElfQuest Pack Remake, Rogue Heir of Elthorn. That's quite a bit. Swag for the Frozen Horror Into the Northlands, and the Adventure Design Kit swag. It's pretty cool. So, alright. Let's get that off of there. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, and everybody just remember to check out the stream tomorrow. 6 to 10 p.m. is our plan for HeroQuest fans playing some live HeroQuest, so check us out on the Discord. I'll be posting there. We'll be playing live like we always do, or I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing the Frozen Horror. Yeah, thanks, Elviler. Appreciate it. Yeah, and thanks to Luca Pasci. And, of course, thanks to Hasbro. Milton Bradley back then, but always Hasbro that whole time. I mean, Hasbro, Milton Bradley was always part of Hasbro throughout the period that HeroQuest was first in print. So just keep that in mind. You have all these brands and divisions and stuff, but it's all in the same thing. So yeah, good luck to everybody at Gen Con, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Oh, and let's think about who we want to raid. Is there somebody that's streaming now that we want to raid? Just need to pull up Twitch here. Yeah, I'm not seeing any of our friends streaming. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great night. Oh, we had quite a few people on, yeah. I forgot to check. Yeah, welcome to all the new people. Okay, everybody have a great night. We'll see you next time on the HeroQuest Fans. And definitely go check out elviler.com, check out Amalgamash, check out Sir Death Vids on YouTube, check out the Strange Bus, and other people are posting stuff all the time. So definitely check out the Discord for more updates. All right, take care.